approve today's agenda?
I'll motion.
Motion made by Munch, second.
I'll second.
Okay, second by Nicole. All in favor? Opposed? So moved. Okay, Heidi, we approved the agenda. Munch first, Nicole second, and it was moved. All right. Okay, let's take a look at the consent agenda. Does anybody have any comments or any questions in regards to the consent agenda?
My only question is item F, is the contract with the Sheriff's Department. Can we approve that in the consent agenda, or should we pull it out as a?
No, I always do. That's where I always put
Okay.
it.
And then,
There was one of the housing applications, Red and Boss.
strike that.
Strike.
Well, I told them that they couldn't, like their bank said they wouldn't complete our forms because they're going out of business.
Okay.
The
So
bank is?
yeah, they're shut. Well, I don't think the whole organization is, but the mortgage division of it is. And I told them, well, if you don't do that, we can't authorize it. And they said, well, we'll tell them. I've never heard anyone more from them.
Okay, should we strike that off then?
Yeah.
I'll make it all right, any question? Any more
I had, the Omaha Track Equipment, what did they inspect? Yeah, it says annual inspection Detroit.
Oh, that'd be
What's
what,
that?
that's Detroit generator, yeah.
Oh, okay. My other comment was, I found it interesting beer was returned. I don't think I've ever seen that before. So,
Any open cases were returned for
Right.
reimbursement. So. And then some beer was bought by a firefighter for a party. So.
the Neola Betterment, what is it that they are wanting us to do? Because I see they have this, the housing program. Are they wanting so much money per unit?
12,500 per unit.
Because I also keep hearing you mention they want TIF money.
That's what it is.
It is too.
Okay,
Yes.
So that's what all.
so when it
that's what
says
all-
unit, is that,
Yeah,
because they look like
is
duplexes?
it a duplex or is it per side? Like
Yeah.
They don't have it
one
figured
building?
out yet.
Well,
Oh, that's a good question.
well, yeah, because
What?
I mean,
If
if
it's all
it's
one
per
building.
side, that's gonna,
It's per unit. It's
which is a unit
building
is
A,
two,
unit
or
one.
is a unit one?
a unit is, each housing unit is so there'd be 2 per duplex or 4 if it's a 4-plex or you know what I mean.
Okay, so 12.5
Yeah.
per two, basically,
Yeah.
is what it's saying.
But I know from the site plan of theirs that I've seen, there's no way that you're gonna want to pass it. You're gonna have to look at it because their streets don't meet. They have the street going into it, doesn't meet standards, not even close. It's basically a one-way road. They have no parking suitable for the units down there.
So,
There's lots. I had them get with Snyder, and I said, "You need this. Is what this. These are things you got to comply with to be able to do a project." No, they're just giving them. They're just showing them how to comply.
She was asking all sorts of things too. I had no idea.
They've met one time, and I haven't seen what came of that.
So do we need to pull this one out too as well?
I think so.
I kind of
Okay,
think so.
I think we need to pull this one out too as well.
Better look for you.
Yep.
Any other questions? All right, all motion to approve the consent agenda striking items J and K.
Second, Carla, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay. Item 5, discuss with possible action of SWIPCO presentation.
Good evening, everybody.
Well,
My name is Mark Lander. I'm the Transit Director at Southwest Iowa Planning Council and Southwest Iowa Transit Agency. Basically, what we've been doing was we're just out and about letting some of our community, all of our community know kind of what we do, how we do it, looking for possible ways we may be able to partner and take care of some stuff for you guys. Southwest Iowa Planning Council and Southwest Iowa Transit Agency are together a 28-year organization serving 8 counties in Southwest Iowa. Through SWIPCO, we provide transportation to a wide variety of clients for a wide variety of reasons. SWIPCO includes assistance to cities and counties for planning, grant writing, and project administration services, as well as assistance to individuals for housing rehab and assistance, as well as small business loans. SWIFCO is supported by federal and state grants and contracts, membership dues, contract service fees for larger projects such as CDBG projects, and hourly fees for service such as building inspection. We're your planning staff. We can do comprehensive plans, zoning maps, GIS mapping, trails plans, strategic plans, hazard mitigation planning, as well as plans tailored to very specific needs such as rental housing surveys. We're here for special projects such as code of ordinance updates, property annexation, city budget assistance, general good governance questions, and grant writing. Infrastructure is really our specialty. We provide grant writing and project administration for water, wastewater, storm sewer, child care centers, and many other types of public improvements. Housing, one of our region's biggest needs. At SWIFCO and with the Iowa Housing Trust Fund, which we administer, we conduct housing rehab, new construction, home ownership assistance grants, building code inspection, dangerous building abatement, including demolition. It's kind of a rundown of SWIFCO. As far as SWITA, which I run, we have just under 100 vehicles that run in the 8 counties of southwest Iowa. We do about 400,000 rides a year. We have about 80 drivers, a couple of them live here in Neola. And one reason I wanted to come and kind of take care of Neola, besides the fact I'm from Underwood, is we have a couple interesting projects that I've been working on. One, you may have heard a little bit about the shuttle that we ran from Minden, Neola, Underwood, into Council Bluffs. We are going to do that again this summer. We had really good ridership here in Neola. I expected Minden to kind of be the one that drove that, and we have one or two from Minden. The majority of it came from here in Neola. Actually, we had no one that rode in Underwood. So we're planning on doing that again. We're going to switch it up a little bit. What I mean by that is we're going to do a little bit better advertising. We're going to do advertising better. We're going to actually have a call-in, so folks can call in and say, I'm going to ride this day, and possibly, this isn't 100% sure yet, but we may pick them up at their houses. So we think that would be just a different wrinkle that would really help folks out. And it's something that I have seen catch on in other towns. And I think Neola and Minden in particular are just far enough away that it really makes sense. When you talked about maybe going as far as Persia, that's still kind of up in the air. I think this leg's going to be Minden, Neola, and then I think we're going to cut out Underwood. We'll give them the option. If someone calls in Underwood, we'll go pick them up. But for all intents and purposes, it'll be Minden and Neola. Another project I'm working on, and this is something that I just kind of want to put a bug in your guys' ear, is we have partnered with Enterprise Rental Car to do work transportation of van pool. Which basically what that means is if you have folks going, several folks that work out in West Omaha, and they say, hey, we got 5-6 people, it makes sense for us to carpool. Well, Enterprise will lease us for $1,100 a month, a 15-passenger van, or for $1,000 a month, 7-passenger van. That includes insurance, maintenance, and then what we do is we'll pay $400 towards that to buy it down, so it'd be $600 would be split between riders for a minivan, or it would be $700 for the 15-passenger vehicle. SWITA will cover the fuel as well. So it's something that I think would work really well in a community like this. It's just far enough away that it really kind of cuts into your budget when you have to pay for fuel. And a couple benefits of this that some of the cities I've talked to have seen is if you're using this for work transportation, it will significantly cut your insurance, because we will give the individual riding a letter that says they're utilizing this van pool, and then they'll give their insurance provider, and then they can move the recreational insurance plan on their vehicle. So it'll save that alone, depending on how much their car insurance is, could pay for that transportation right there, their monthly transportation. So I just want to put that kind of a bug in your guys' ear. I have my business cards for everybody. So if you run into people that are interested in that type of thing, we'll put an ad in the Gazette here when we really start to move forward with it. And but if you know anyone in the meantime, just have them reach out to me and we can get things set up. We do need 5 people to initially start the minivan, and we need 7 for the 15-passenger van. So that kind of makes sense.
Can you, when you get a flyer available, can you ship us one so we can start posting it out?
Yep, sure will. It'll probably be in
And
about
if you
a
could
week.
let Heidi know your operations time frame as far as your hours of operation for the bus as well, that would be great. We would love to have you do a proposal for us for the pool, for pickup and drop off.
Mhm.
And Heidi can give you the pool hours
Yeah.
and see if you can work something out for us to pick up kids and drop them off.
Yeah, kind of, that's something we'd be able to get really competitive with. And kind of what I would do is, I need to know the hours, and we'd have a morning pickup and then an afternoon drop off.
Yep.
That's probably
Mhm.
how we would want to do it.
Yep.
And since I have a driver right here in town, you know, unless it's gonna be over an hour worth of time, I'd probably do it for free.
Well,
So,
if you can work something out with us, we want to get it out to the schools, and we want to get it out to Underwood, and we want to get it out to Tri-Center so we can hit, I think we had talked earlier about you might do Persia, Minden, and Neola and Underwood, and you wouldn't go to McClellan. But at least if we could get pickup and drop-offs in one spot in each town, that would be awesome.
yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I'll have Doreen reach out, who's our
Perfect.
outreach specialist, and we can get some things shaken and baking. So hopefully it'll be something good to get some of these kids to and from the field sometime.
Perfect, perfect,
Any
yeah.
other questions for me?
No, thank
All
you
right,
so
if you guys
much.
run into anything you need help with, reach out to me and I can get you in contact with our community development director or whatever you guys need. So,
Great.
appreciate your time.
Great, thank you. Okay. So that was it. All right, number 6, discuss what possible action on the Rosewood Apartments for water and sewer minimum no consumption with water shutoffs in the apartments. And we do have an attachment for that.
Hello, Fred.
Hi, Fred.
Are you ready for me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
More papers there than I do.
Well, this is way a lot.
Well, you know I've got apartments, and I want to word this carefully because when I say the way things were done in the past usually gets me in trouble. But I've had apartments for 20, 25 years, and when they're vacant, they have not been charging me for sewer and water fees. And now recently I have been. And I'm not trying to say the past clerk or anybody, but I mean, all the city councilmen and clerks for the last 25 years have never charged me a fee when nobody's there, for no usage, I guess you'd say. But then now recently, I was getting charges. And I tried to visit with Jeremy a few times and with Heidi a few times. And they were trying to come together, and pretty soon it's like, maybe I should come here. And I know the city needs to do things to keep the budget up and keep it correct. I don't want to be punished for something that has recently happened with finances and council meetings and things like that. Actually, my apartments are full. For the last 20, 25 years, they've been, probably 98% full, and they're full right now. But I had, Chuck from the Bucksmore, Bud asked me if I would rent to him, and he promised me if he didn't pay, he would pay, and probably, I don't know if he paid the utility, but I think Chuck was all right. Well, he went and died.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it took me a year and a half to rent that apartment. And all of a sudden, there's like $50 minimum, and you're talking like $800, $900. I'm thinking, well, I'm looking for a policy for when I have some long-term thing like that. There's actually no usage, but I already got penalized because the guy, how would you say it? The guy's not living, he's not there, and I can't rent it. But then, not only am I not bringing in income, I'm spending an extra $800, $900. And one of the things we were talking about is being able to shut off the utilities. Well, you know, apartments are a little different. This 25 years ago, you didn't run 4 mains to the house and have 4 curb stops. It wasn't necessary. So, but I do have shut-offs to each one of them inside. But at the same time, if there's no usage, the meter doesn't read, so it's easy to do. If there's usage, well, yeah, then I get billed. If there's no usage, I mean, it just seems a little redundant that we're worried about shutting them off. And I know there's a private home or something, yeah, you might need to do that. But I think, you know, each thing needs to be looked at separately. And I'm pretty sure that if I have usage, I'm gonna pay. Actually, I wanna say, I've always paid, but no, I haven't paid this last 3 or 4 months, that's why I'm here. Because nothing was getting settled, and it doesn't get settled until you stop paying, so. And it kinda brought it to a head here. But, you know, for my opinion, I'd like to, if nobody's there, nothing's being used, I would like not to be charged for it. And, you know, like in a 4-plex, you're still getting 3/4 of the rent. And like I say, for some reason, I just cannot get that one rented. But it's rented now, and hopefully I won't have that problem. You know, I don't mind eating a month or 2 utilities, but got to be that year and a half, it's like, oh, this is silly, we gotta find another way of looking at this. So, that's,
If I'm wrong, but didn't we discuss this?
Yeah,
at
we
the
did. We
old
did
City
it
Hall, I
in
remember
previous
this.
time. You came in with Gene,
Yes,
and we did have a conversation about this, and that was a couple of
a
years
couple
ago.
years ago.
yeah.
I guess, and
But was it the same conversation?
yeah,
Yes, it was,
And the way I remember, Fred, is you
because it was brought up about people that go away for the winter.
yes.
And, yeah, it was all one conversation, I
Yes.
remember it.
So, and part of your issue is that all of your units aren't metered individually. They're metered off of one meter, and
No, they are metered
It
individuals,
says they're
Okay.
separate.
but there's not
there's
one
not a curb stop for
outside
each.
curb stop for
Okay.
each one of them. There's separate meters on the inside,
Okay.
and, you know, if we.
Well, I think
So why don't we go in and shut it off if we don't have
Yeah,
anybody?
yeah.
well,
Actually, I put different meter, or shut-offs in the one, and with the idea of being able to padlock those up. The other ones with no turn on.
right.
I put lever ones on there. But, you know, we visited about that a little bit, but it never got
Well,
any farther.
And part of the issue is, so we have a fee for shutting off and turning on, because that would require our guys going out and shutting off and turning on at the curb stop. Versus not at the curb
Yeah.
stop.
Well, when this came up, it was like, well, I can pay a fee to turn it off, turn it back on. If I'm going a year and a half,
Right,
you know, it's,
That makes
but
sense.
then we never got any clarification on how to do this.
okay. Well-
Can you logistically turn it off in the winter though?
Well, you can turn we leave the electricity on, so there's always heat in here. But the water could be shut off. It wouldn't hurt anything.
I was just kind of looking over some of the stuff that we do as our city, and like at the pool, we charge ourselves that same minimum throughout the whole year, except for, the other, there's no usage of the pool, but it's just city, the water department charges the pool that fee. Same thing with the monument, same thing with the ballparks, It's a matter of consistency, I think, is the issue. And we have, the whole point of the minimum charges is whether you're using it or not, there's still a meter there, there's still infrastructure, there's all these costs the city has to always has to maintain. And how do we say to you, well, just because this is your livelihood or this is your business, you don't have to do it, but then when a resident, private residence has the same issue, and we charge them no minimums. I don't know.
Well, the resident can shut his off if they want to.
Sure.
Yeah, and that was the problem. They couldn't figure out how to shut it off. And in my mind, it's like, why even worry about it? It's metered, so if it's no usage, who cares if it's shut off or not? But if you're worried about being shut off, I've got the new shut-offs in there, and we can padlock them up. I can let Jeremy in there anytime. But it seems silly.
So it's just a $50 fee to turn it back on. It's not
On
to
and
shut it
off,
off.
right?
Off and on.
So it'd be
Off
$100
and
total.
on.
It's a lot cheaper than having to.
You know, one to shut it off and one to turn it back on. But then, and I don't know what I said this.
So then what happens when we wanna shut the water off in the tenant's apartment and they won't let us in to do it?
Well, I'm the landlord and I've got a right to go in there anytime, so.
I guess my point is, and it's nice to have renters here in Neola that support the community, but I don't know if the city is responsible for keeping a renter in there. And I hate to say that, but
No, no, you're not.
Our
But,
obligation is
I don't
to
see any.
provide you electrical and water and waste.
right.
Communication is very important here. This is the factor right here I think I see is that communication, letting us know when people are coming and going. So that therefore we can be on the same page as far as what you want turned off and when is very important. So that way everybody's okay with it. Now, optimal would be to have it on the outside. It'd be a lot easier because then if you call us, all we have to do is just turn it off. We don't have to get access into it. Now, I'm sure there's some legalities there about if somebody's in there, about legally what you can and can't do
Yeah.
is.
The person, if they get the account in their name,
Yeah,
so if the account's in their name, we can't shut it off because the landlord tells us to.
Right.
Yeah, we can shut it off if they don't pay, you know what I mean, or if they abandon the place. But as long as they're in there and paying us, we can't turn it off, or we can get in trouble.
But the instances we're talking about is when it's vacant, no one's there.
yeah, we're talking about
Right.
when it's back in my name,
So
not in renters or
How does
when it's
how
my
does
name.
that transition happen every time? When your renters leave and then you have a vacancy, do you have to, the bill automatically come back to you? Or does it automatically get shut off? How does the city
No, it doesn't get shut
notify?
off, it goes to me unless I have another person coming in right away.
So the bills always come to you
No,
every month?
no.
So they
So
notify
how,
you,
yeah,
the renter notifies you, correct? But has anybody
Yeah, they
ever
give me
left
30
without
day
telling-
notice.
Okay.
I've got to have 30-day notice. And then if I get somebody else back in there, the bill just went from that one to the next one.
right.
And that happens sometimes. Sometimes there's a month when it's in my name, maybe 2 months.
So
I'm
clear,
just saying I had a bad deal for a year and a
Yeah.
half. So there's something I need to clarify for that.
clerically, how do we manage that? When your tenants leave, do you then get a hold of Heidi or they just come and get a hold of Heidi and shut down their account? Then it automatically comes back to you?
Well, I'm
Or do you
gonna
have a
say-
conversation between the two?
I've had some conversations when people leave. I
Okay.
won't say I've had everyone. I had one guy, the fire chief here actually recommended me work for him. And I got paid the month's rent. But he left like a week into that month. I didn't know he wasn't there.
Right?
And I didn't find out until, into the next month that he wasn't even there. Well, I had been paid for that month,
Right.
so, I mean, there's some times here that you said.
Well, and that's, I'm in business too, and sometimes there's a risk to being in business also. Everything
Yeah.
isn't always a guaranteed payday to you. That's just kind of the way.
Well, I'm just,
Right.
and that's why I said I hated to say this, but it hasn't always been this way.
Right.
And you haven't had to do that until recently, and I can see why you
I
had
think
to do
we
it.
did it when we had this last discussion, is
Yes.
when we made
We
this, there
created
was gonna
it.
be a
We
minimum,
created that.
and that's just the way it was.
Yes, that is true. We did have this conversation,
Yeah.
and we did make it.
I thought we made
It
a
was
motion,
while
and
back.
that's the way it was gonna be, there was gonna be a minimum charge,
Yeah. Whether it
whether
wasn't,
anybody was there or not.
right. It is what our decision was.
You know,
It was because of the sewer, you're talking about the
Right,
sewer,
yeah, exactly.
because the sewer bond was never, the city was supposed to raise, when they built the sewer plant, however many years ago that's been, they were required by law to raise their rates high enough to pay for it, and they never did. That's actually why the city had gotten almost broke, is because they did that for years, and it had gone down to the point where their savings were all gone. It wasn't just the fraud, but that was part of that discussion, was how do we have a policy to make sure we're floating all of our bills for utilities.
well, look, just going back to what Don said about communication, my memory's not good. now that you said something about that meeting, yeah, but there was never a follow-up on it. I made Dean talk, but nobody ever said that it was just left. Nobody said there was a policy created that night or told us about, and had no idea. You know, it got to be a long time close to that year, and I went and talked to Jeremy, and he said, well, if we can shut it off. So I notified Heidi, and that was in November, that, okay, we're gonna shut it off. Well, geez, we're May,
Yeah.
and we haven't figured out anything. It's like, oh, that's when I quit paying, because we gotta figure out something.
Right.
But even way back in November, I just wanted to shut off, so, you know, charge me $50 in, charge me $50 now when I turn it back on, but not $50 for a year and a half.
Well, no, and I understand that, but I agree with you. That was wasted of money that should have not have had it.
Yeah.
But I guess just that's where my confusion is how do they know to go shut it off if someone hasn't told them, hey, come shut it off and I'll pay the $50 shut off fee. That's the one thing.
Well, yeah, I would have to come down and say, hey, I want to shut this one off. I can't get it rented, and I don't want to
Exactly.
pay that anymore.
Yes.
And then we still keep the electric on all of them.
Sure.
And this may never come up again,
Well, maybe.
but, you know,
Yes.
Never say never.
we've got, somebody's going to die in there.
Right.
Now I could have another one and have it killed or something.
Well-
Well, I sure didn't for a long time there. And maybe it was just that guy's unit, I don't know. But
Now, when somebody moves and someone else moves in, and it's a smooth transition where you just have one going over to the other, now do you notify Heidi to transfer that account to somebody else?
Yeah.
Or are they responsible for calling and letting her know?
I always tell them that they have to sign up with the city. Is I can't do it for them, they have to do it. I called Heidi this morning and told her that I've got 2 new ones coming in, basically this weekend and then tomorrow's first of April. Did either one of them call you? Okay. But I told her to make sure we got it read, that it will be their responsibility.
Because logistically, it's probably be in the wrong person's name, because it's probably gonna be in the previous person's name if they never took their name off the account. So we're gonna be billing the wrong person until we.
Well,
find
that's
out.
true. I mean, if they skip out of town, which, you know, that's not unheard of, that person that left, then aren't they still then liable for the bills if they didn't shut off their account?
Of course they are.
Right, exactly. So, you know, you shouldn't be paying those. That should be
No,
our
he's
burden.
not paying those.
Okay.
Did
I was
my
just saying,
other
you know,
two
that should be the
renters
city's
say they
burden
were
to
moving?
collect those funds, but.
Yeah, the ones that moved out notified me they
Okay.
moved out, but the ones that moved in haven't contacted me
No.
yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess that maybe for clarification's sake, going further, if a person that is a known renter comes in and shuts off their account, should we just send a courtesy call then to the property owner to say, hey, these people shut off with me, and are you willing to continue paying, or would you prefer that we have a shut off?
Well,
Just so that we're
that's
all
what I was
on
just
the
getting ready
same
to say that. You know, a lot of places have, there's only like so many ways to do this, you know what I mean? So it's common to do it the way you're doing with like set minimums and all that kind of thing, but you can also, with your landlords, have a policy to where you give the landlord an option to have on file with the city and request to either transfer it back into their name every time someone moves out, or just to shut it off. You know what I mean? And that's pretty common too. You know, then you avoid any extra bills. If there's some minimums and things that you know, you would be charged, those would stay in place, but you can shut off anything
Well,
extra.
and I would think that would should be something that you could manage through your deposit process too, you know, you built into your next renter automatically the $50 turn on fee, and then a $50 shut off fee, you know, as they move in and out.
I know it's not legal for me to do anything with the utilities on my rental lease.
Okay.
It's gotta be, it can't be. But, yeah, you know, if it costs me $50 to shut it off and $50 to hook it up, well, see, I could go 2 months, you know, it's worth it to me, just.
Sure.
Usually a month I might be without, maybe 2 months,
Right.
but I had that bad deal, and that's what
Right.
I'm
Sure,
really
yeah, I
talking
understand.
about.
That's
So if I see, hey, this is going on too long, I'm gonna pay that $50 now, because I know I'm not gonna get it rented for
Save
6
yourself
months.
A few hundred, did you?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's what we couldn't figure out how to do. You know, I came in last November and asked to have it shut off, and Nobody can figure out how to get it shut off
So
without
we know
having
when
to be
to shut it off now?
padlocked
How to shut it
or.
off now?
Yeah, to get to the apartment, I haven't seen shots, not to get to the apartment, so.
Yeah.
You normally
And
can
I
tag
can-
them out at the meter. You know, they have those like zip
Well,
ties.
it's for the water, we'll have to get inside the, his water shots are inside the apartments, there's no outside shut offs.
No curb stops
So
outside.
you'll have to,
At the meter.
Yeah.
Is there a separate meter for it?
they're all inside. The electric
All the
meters,
meters are inside?
the electric meters we can pull, but the water is on the inside of one person's apartment.
Jeremy,
Or whoever one was in there.
did you say you did something with Matokas different
He put, all individual shut offs outside.
Outside.
outside?
Okay,
Curb stops.
Get curb
But
stops.
those aren't necessarily to the main, just curb stops
Just
along the
curb stops
exterior.
to the
You have one
apartments.
main.
Yep. We got one main shut off and then individual shut offs, which should be,
Should be standard for.
That's like his were built
Yeah.
before then, and then it just did that.
how much are the outside turnoffs?
Well, curb stop,
Curb stop.
like the, I don't,
How do you don't
To
remember?
like install one?
Well,
To install them?
Yeah, that's, I mean, that's the plumbing
Not just
issue.
using them.
You're not required to separately meter all of them if you don't want to, honestly.
Kevin probably did it when he rebuilt,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know, this almost sounds bad. If I had one meter and I paid the fee, it would probably be way cheaper than 4 meters.
Yes.
But you guys are gonna come up short on that deal.
It's your option to do that, though. Honestly, you can do that, and
Put
you
in
can
one
just
meter
collect
and I
every.
can just charge them another $25 a month rent and,
make up the difference. Yeah.
yeah, so I'm getting 100 and the water bill might be $50.
Right.
It will go down a lot because you, instead of paying 4 minimums, which you'll pay, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Heidi can estimate it for you.
Oh yeah,
Go
we
back
can
to it.
just
We
figure
can
out what
estimate it.
form we're using at the same time.
You can always raise your rates a little bit to compensate for that. So
Yeah, yeah.
then you don't have to worry about it.
Guys, this seems silly though.
I know.
I don't wanna hurt you guys. I want my renters to be paying you guys
Right.
instead of me giving you less for all of them.
Just trying to be straight with you.
Yeah.
That is option. That does work for you, and that's a totally legitimate option.
And the
That's
city-
within all of our policies and
And
everything.
the city is still getting compensated for the water use. It's not like they're getting, I mean, still the same amount of water going through the meter.
What do you guys do, Belt, on your big rental units? Do you have those still, or?
Not too much of that, they're all individual shut-offs. And then they, you know, most of them now make them leave a credit card
Oh, yeah.
so they can't walk away. They make them renew that card every year.
Brilliant.
Wow.
Them young kids, I mean, hardly any of them don't have a debit or a credit card.
Right.
But they have cash.
Are they doing,
If I make them leave their phone, then they get real excited.
That's a deal breaker, probably.
do you think they're doing 1 meter or individual
They
meters?
do mostly individuals.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's still some one meter places, don't get me wrong, that, you know, they work into the rent.
And this is something we probably have to
Because it's
Look at for
tied
you.
to the sewer bill too, as you're well
every,
aware.
like twice a year or something to see if you have somebody that's using more than another person, then we might need
Well,
to.
we'll never know if
Yeah.
we eliminate all the meters.
Oh, that's true. If there's only one, then you're not going to tell.
Okay, well, I think, right, I mean, their fault. If this, somebody dies in my apartment in the future, then I'm gonna take all the meters out and put 1 meter in. But until then, I'm leaving it the way it is.
Okay, for
Because
the,
everybody's gonna pay.
okay. So for the future,
Yeah.
just
Going
keep that
forward.
communication going with Heidi.
Yeah.
And anything that we turn off, I think we'll probably make a form up so you can sign it that it's okay for us to turn it off.
Yeah.
So that way we have backup in case something happens to the property and it doesn't come back on us. So it's going to be up to your discretion what you want turned on and off.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay. Just one thing. Last time we had this 2 years ago, did you formally say we're gonna do this?
Yeah, we
I
created a
believe so,
policy.
yes, we
Okay.
created a policy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, it should, there's
Told them
a
that.
document, and, I mean, we can make sure you get a copy of that too.
And
so-
I know it's probably, I'm supposed to be able to look at that or see it in the paper or
Sure.
something. Communication would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
It's where everything always falls
Thank you.
down. Thanks, Fred, have a good
You
evening.
bet.
Okay. Next. Number 7, discussion of possible action on the city purchasing ropes, starting blocks, and flags for the swim
Do
team.
you mind,
Yeah.
Scott, are you here to, for anything in particular, or just to, should we just go ahead and let Scott?
Okay.
I thought maybe you're here to like hand out flyers and stuff for your campaign.
No.
We have to talk.
Oh, that was your item.
That's me.
Yeah.
So,
And my kids are
that's
home.
what I
Yeah,
mean.
we'll do anything.
So are mine.
You want me to go get them?
What do you want to do? Scott, are you?
We'll do Amy first and then we'll do Scott.
Okay,
Alright.
we wanted a swim team, we have a swim team, we have 36 swimmers right now.
36, nice.
So, we get that.
Which is awesome.
Now you want mine.
Now we would like some help getting started because there are no ropes, rope hooks. Rope hooks are gonna have to be fabricated. We're possibly gonna have to get a company to come in and make something for the gutters because we have not found anything for the gutters and we've contacted several swim places. And the gutter hooks are no longer there from when the pool was originally built. We found some portable starting blocks. They run about $1,600 a piece. If we could get 2 of those, that would be awesome because the kids are gonna have to go off of starting blocks. There are places for starting blocks, but they're gonna have 4 screws put in and out every single time, and they're not in a real good place with the way the windows are put coming by the locker rooms now. There's just not place to leave them in all the time, and taking them in and out is gonna be,
There's 1,600 a piece or
they're
1,600
$1,600 a piece.
Because on the estimate, it's only got 1,600.
Yeah, it's
So that's
$1,600 for
one.
one, yep. And that's shipping door to door. And water, you can fill water in the bottom of them. And then the water can be drained out after each practice so that they're put up against the wall in between practices. And we'll just have to fill the bottoms of them for stabilization. Because the way that the original starting blocks are put in, it's gonna take probably Eric and Jeremy or Bud's helping. Bud's gonna be the head coach, Johansson. It's gonna take a couple of them, just to put them in and out every single time. And we have not found where we can even purchase that style anymore. So we're gonna have to take the new ones that set clear down in, and we would have to have those, a platform soldered on the bottom. So this winter, when one of our daughters swam on the Harlan swim team, they had purchased a removable one, one that just can go up against and it's portable, and it worked great. And you can have it custom to height, whatever height you need it. And they ship them door to door, put together for us. And then ropes, the 800, it would be for 3 ropes, is what the 800 is,
So 3 lanes.
for 3. So we would have 3 lanes, yep. And especially where swim lessons are going to overlap with swim team, it would be good to have at least 3 ropes so that we can rope off half the pool, and then we're not getting in each other's way.
I thought with the schedule that they weren't at
Swim
the
team
same time.
practices from 11:15 to 12:15, and
That was
swim
not
lessons for
according
2
to that.
weeks go up
That's
to
not on that list that we
11:15.
have.
It says on here 10 to 12.
10 to 12. and
Monday,
then-
But
Friday.
we're moving it because swim lessons are going like 9:15 to 11:50.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. So you can't,
so we're gonna be, and it's only gonna be
When
3
are
days a
swim
week because
lessons?
it's only gonna be Tuesday, Thursday, Friday that we're gonna overlap because Monday, Wednesdays we have meets. And it's only for 6 practices total, which isn't a big deal. I mean, Trina and I have talked about it. It will work completely fine.
My only problem is that we have a lot of people doing swim lessons and the parking there is gonna be atrocious.
There won't
Plus,
probably be a
there's gonna
lot.
be a lot of people in that pool and I'm sure there's a capacity
No, I bet we're not anymore.
We won't be over capacity. We'll be fine.
with 20 kids per class.
I bet you.
The classes won't be going that long because the classes are only 30 to 35 minutes. You're gonna be having a shift out of it. You're gonna have in and out. We're gonna be fine. So, I think it will be fine.
Swim lessons.
They're start at like 9:15 and go to 11:50. And then we decided to.
Every day?
Yeah, and where we only had 36 kids, we can run one practice. Because if you get more than 40 kids, you need to go to practices, otherwise you've got kids standing, and then that's when the goofing off starts. Well, we don't have over that 40, so we cut it down to an hour. And we have everybody coming out at 12:15, so the pool can be cleared before open swim. That way you don't know, oh, who's paid to get in the pool, who hasn't.
Right.
I just thought it was better that we cleared the pool right before open swim started.
So you need 2 starting blocks
We would
and
like-
swim ropes.
and swim ropes.
Swim at the $800 one is correct?
This for free. Yep.
So that's 4,000. Right? That'd be
5,300.
5,300 there.
5,300 is the total.
And we are going to ask
All
for
that?
donations, so.
Now, are you only asking
we're
for
at-
the highlighted? Is that what you're asking for? Is just
Oh,
the
and-
highlighted?
and
Just the highlighted
And
stuff.
the 350.
Just the highlighted.
Okay.
Everything else, we
all
have
right.
registration fee that we're not paying.
4,350.
That's why I highlighted it, sorry.
Oh,
I was doing it
But
quickly.
then ropes, we need hooks still, so we don't know about that, that's unknown.
No, but I am going to
Yeah,
go to
an idea.
businesses, Bud and I are going to call businesses and ask for donations. And put,
sponsors.
yeah, ask for donations and sponsors and put signs up inside the
I was
pool.
gonna ask you about that. Are you doing
Yep.
fundraising?
I just have not gotten to that point because I can't call Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. I'm a little busy right now, so that's
Yeah.
gonna be probably the 25th of May when I start calling.
So what's a sponsorship, like 100?
We're gonna do, I think, $100 and then they'll get a sign, or if they wanna just do 50 and not have a sign up. And then we'll get yearly sponsorships after this year.
Do you have an idea how these tankers are gonna work? Or help me with some of the age limitations?
Well, that's not my department, that's a couple city guys.
Okay. Roger.
There's a couple different places that they can get them made.
Anything else?
That's it.
I'll move to buy a set of 2 starting blocks, 3 swim ropes, and the high-tech software for the $4,350.
Second, right?
Okay, all in favor?
Uh,
Opposed? So moved.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
At the end of the season, we'll come back and see you.
Big fat roll of cash or
We'll see what.
big
we-
trophy would even too.
Big trophy. Give us a couple years. We got a lot of beginners.
Good job, Amy. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Nicole, you don't get big injured?
No, it
No,
doesn't.
go back to Scott.
It'll be all right.
Scott,
Yes.
you're up.
Well,
You're up.
what am I up for?
Well, that's what we're curious about.
What are you doing here?
What am I doing here?
Just come to watch our meeting?
Part of the Russian.
You don't get to see.
No, I'm trying to get around to these communities, especially, I guess, 2 things. Annexation, one, being one, it's great to see communities doing that. And some of the communities, I think, we have a lot of resources that are available to you at the county. And I would encourage them to reach out to them and can help them with a lot of those processes now as well as annexation. McClellan's having a little trouble with their annexation. They think they can not annex the road.
Oh, just skip that part.
Just skip over that part, we don't need to take that road.
Don't be the expense.
Yeah, one side of the road, not the other side.
We want to tax you, but we don't want to take care of the road.
Oh, yeah, no, well, and we'd still be taking care of it. You can't have you can't have islands. I mean, it's some pretty simple stuff in that. And then the other thing I saw on the agenda was, are you amending your 17-18 budget? Or your 18-19 already?
17, 18.
Okay, because it just says 18 budget. So, the others, like, they started, and they're upgraded. Yeah, no, so, wasn't quite sure, on what you're doing with that. But, no, I think there's an opportunity, I'm hoping with the communications with some different departments within the county that could be of a resource to you folks and such. And then I think there's going to be probably sometime late summer, early fall, the sheriff's going to probably have a meeting with a lot of communities because there hasn't been any change in that operation for, I think it's 20 years. And so those costs have continued to go up, and that those rural services hasn't been carrying their weight on that side. So, just
So can we sign our contract tonight for another 20 years?
We already
Yeah.
yeah, you certainly can sign it.
They are lower than a lot of the other counties I work in.
Yeah.
But also kind of with the metro in the community,
Right.
you know, we should be able to keep it pretty reasonable here.
No, I think it'd be reasonable, but just the fact that the uniform, the car, and everything has gone up since the day, it should have been a 0.5%. Or 160 are also out there. 1% deal put on that thing originally, so that everybody knows in their budgets going forward what that looks like. You know, and then at a cap. And I didn't bring the numbers with me, but just the amount of money we put in to get an officer into place.
It's 120 grand.
Yeah. And, you know, and then if they're not doing their job, then I guess that's what I can communicate back from you folks, that you're not getting the service that you think we provided. And we have the same thing. I don't know if you guys are tied into the animal control side of the thing, the public health piece that we're going to be rolling out, and some of those things. So I think there's great things ahead for Potawatomi County, and hopefully we can diminish this east-west tide here a little bit.
So, Scott, do you think that some of the duties that they're doing right now may change on the list of things that they're doing right now?
The sheriff?
Yeah.
I wouldn't see them changing much, you know, what they're doing. Are you contracted for 2 hours a day?
No, we just take the minimum,
Isn't that 2 hours a day?
well, I think
It's per capita.
I thought it
yes,
was
it's
one.
per capita, and then you have an option to take on
Right.
extra time. And
Right.
we used to do that, but we kind of determined that
Yeah, it's per capita.
you weren't really getting what you paid for.
Right. Well, we try to put, or at least the sheriff indicated us, he tries to put, tries to get one resided in your, well, that's just the renewal of 2018.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
Same
right,
number.
but it's not, doesn't show the original data.
Are they talking about a rate increase?
Yes, I
Per
would say
capita?
that's what we're
Yes.
talking about.
That's what he said.
We need to sign this today.
Well,
Well,
it's not,
It's not,
it's not
it's going forward.
This has nothing to do.
Daniel's been talking about it for like 5 or 6 years.
We've been talking about it for
Yeah.
7 years.
Yeah.
That I know,
Right.
and nothing.
Well, it's never changed since I've been on the council, it's always been the same way, other than what we've elected to take.
Yeah,
Right.
state's
Now,
over.
one thing that I think we should really talk about, and at least try to pass this, is, I guess I shouldn't say that, because people will say, Clint's talking about doing this. But I think that we should look at, and maybe have some kind of study done, like the International City County Management Association, we could hire them to do a study for us, and utilize that uniform law enforcement, unified law enforcement tax 28E process,
Right.
where the counties and cities can go together and create a new consolidated law enforcement program. It would work. It would be really nice, I think. You know, I don't know who. if
So
the
where
Carly
would
can look at
where would they
it.
come up with the physical assets? That each community buy the physical assets?
That's part of the study. What it is it creates. That's the only way you can have a designated tax for public safety is
Right.
unified law enforcement.
Right.
And there's a process
But
for
see,
it. I don't know if
they're
anybody
already
was-
paying. They're all. You just got to remember, because the way it's structured, the rural levy is paying for everything outside these incorporated limits, which there's no way the rural levy can cover that. there's just no way because of the topography and the size of our county.
Does the base rate pay, what does the base rate pay for that all the city people pay?
No.
Don't they help pay for the sheriff?
Yeah, yeah, they help pay,
Yeah.
but I mean, for the rural service side, anything that's supposed to be provided for outside of the incorporated limits of any of these communities is supposed to come out of the rural levy. There ain't enough tax base in the ag property in today's world
Yeah.
to cover that.
No, I know, we run into it too, because there's not enough out there to pay for fire protection like this. Like
Right.
you know what I mean, so
They're trying to,
the ag players always get off.
trying to raise, there was a bill this year, and I don't know if it's gonna pass, they're trying to raise the amount that volunteer fire and ambulance can charge through the township level. I don't know what the set rate is
Well, if we
now.
could just get up to
It's
the maximum, that would be okay.
3/4 cents.
Okay, so they're trying to raise that to 10 cents or whatever, now whether that's gonna, go through or not, I think.
Where we at?
But that doesn't help you.
Somewhere.
If your base doesn't continue to grow, that doesn't help you a whole lot either. Eventually, you're gonna be back in the same position because the fire trucks aren't getting cheaper, the equipment's not getting
We're buying a new
cheaper.
ambulance right now, $200,000.
You know, none of that stuff, the fuel, the operations doesn't get any cheaper, so you just can't, I mean, you're gonna come to the same decision sooner or later, I mean, unless you grow the base.
Yeah,
You know,
we're working on that.
yeah, well, I'm just,
That's why we're annexing.
So what?
Well, look, annexing's great. I mean, that's fine. I mean, we got you guys annexing, we got McClellan annexing, we got, I think you did an annexation, didn't you? And then I think Underwood did an annexation. And Trainer did one.
Yep.
So what are you talking about that there's lots of things the county can help us with? Like
Well-
what? Expand on that for me.
We got animal control, we got public health, we got GIS, you know. And then we have, like I said, we have the sheriff's department, we have roads, EMA
Yeah, but
type of
that's a
thing.
We do a lot of it
That's,
now.
that's part of us too.
Right,
That's what it's
EMA.
about.
So there's, I mean, almost every department there can help your community in one fashion or another.
John Rasmussen's on the
Service.
bridge.
Are you amended?
No.
No,
Okay.
not
We had
that
an
bridge.
issue with the bridge.
I wouldn't call that help.
That's community effort right there. We should all just get out there and just help them finish it, because now it's just,
But almost all those resources are available. It's just a matter whether you want to use them or not.
We have
I
great,
thought
we have
it
great
was money.
supervisors. He's gonna come out and help shovel snow next winter, he
Yeah.
said.
What's that, what
I
money?
thought you had money you wanted to give us.
Well, I mean, there's opportunities, I think, for you to get monies, and most of that's through the city's program, but there's other programs out there that are available too. Depending, but you guys just got a bunch of money to redo your utilities and stuff not too long ago here.
2 years ago, we
2
did it.
years
Two
ago.
years.
Last 2 cycles. we
Yeah,
did.
we've got turned down
Who's
those
that?
two.
Yeah. But you got money before that.
Right.
I mean, you don't, Santa Claus don't bring a present every year.
Unless you live in Council Bluffs. Those great big fat ones with a red towel
Yes.
every year.
This is a different council blessing.
Just the one I read in the paper.
Oh, no.
We don't, whatever you read in the paper, just stick to reading Monday's paper.
Is that right?
I-
You'll be, that's the best you can do. is
I went down there and drove around and looked at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty down there, river, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
Lot
the
of
Bass Pro
money, lot
Shop,
of
that's
money.
really sexy. Next topic. How about those bike trails? That's a hell of a group, aren't they?
They're gonna be, it's gonna be good, it's gonna be good. I think we're gonna push right through it. It should be, it'll be great when it gets to here. I think it's gonna be another, asset. Feather in
We had a
every
good
step.
turnout at the run this weekend.
Oh, did you good?
A little over 100 people. So Matt was all kinds of.
Well, you had great weather.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Yeah. I had that funeral. One of our,
Board.
yeah,
Who's that?
Lynn Ford was one of the.
Oh, the sheriff.
Yeah, Jesus. You looked great.
What did you think of our, do you guys want to talk about Wido while we're here and have Scott here? Because he participated in that meeting the other day too.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Wish there would have been more people there.
Yeah.
All the communities need to be there. The question really comes back to the communities. What is their expectation and goals from an organization, whether it's WIDA or anything. You know, do you want us to take our $100,000 and divide it up per capita and give it to the communities? You go out and buy popcorn or balloons or whatever the hell you want to do? Or do you want to have a hired individual to facilitate something? I mean, you guys as communities should decide that. I shouldn't let the board decide that. I mean, I know if you want me to decide for you, I certainly will. But I don't think that's our function. You know, I know it takes money to do that stuff, and I believe the board understands that. Now, what that number should be, I'm not sure, but there should be, 3 things should be there. There should be measurable goals and accountability. You know, and I would thirdly profess that probably in every 5 or 7 years, I don't care if it's Donald Trump or the greatest organizer or community builder you've ever had, you're moving on, because their ideas are going to get stale, and it's time for someone new to come along. Just like they do at the church. You know, you've been here long enough. I've heard you say that verse too long, bring the next guy.
Right.
You know, and plan and prepare for that.
I thought it was interesting when it all came together at the end that it was all the same focus. It came down basically at 9 elements. 4 of them were probably all the same logistically. So that was, out of all of that, that's what everyone focused on. So that was nice. Yeah.
Well,
Moving forward, I mean,
how it went from Pot County, you know, it's always nice to have the history. Where did you come from? Where are you at now, and where do you want to go? And I don't have all the history, but then I got people that don't live in Pot County as the executives of the thing. And then I got one living in Shelby County who's an executive, and they don't. I mean, I'm not saying they don't contribute. I'm sure there's something they contribute. And then I got another executive from Cass County and they're in essence they're dictating where Potawatomi taxpayer dollars go. And I thought, well, how does that ever happen? Because I wasn't always on. I was on there for approximately about 2 years on WIDA.
and realistically, it was all about economic growth, but we can only, economically, as commercial-wise, we can only grow so much.
Right.
Those options do not come available every year.
Well,
It's only a sporadic thing, so that shouldn't be a full-time job.
no, well,
It should be more focused than just that.
yeah, right. No, there's no doubt about that. But the challenge, as you'll find out, is ground is really never really an issue for us. I mean, they talk about these mega sites and you guys don't control the ground. We control the ground in a heartbeat if we had the adequate amount of water there, adequate amount of electricity in there, and gas and rail there. That ground, those people would be getting rid of it like a heartbeat. Google didn't have any trouble finding any ground. They bought some of the most expensive ground around. Bungie didn't have any trouble finding any ground. They just, you know, the ground's not the problem. It's that other part of that. It costs millions of dollars to get those gas lines and those power lines and the sewer plants and that to those locations. And then you want to make sure that you're going to get a return on your investment.
Sure.
You know, those power companies and gas companies don't want to just do that and say, well, so let's hope it works.
What is the consensus on what everybody at these meetings felt that either where WIDA was falling down or what the opportunities were that they, you know?
Our top, we had like three priorities. The top one was that we continue to work together in some kind of regional sense for growth, which was a big definition, including housing and stuff. And then the number 2 priority, this one vote apart, was to dissolve WIDA and start over with something different.
And there was another option on the table which was almost identical to that, which is just renaming and redesign. So logistically, why not just start over?
Well, and what do we have? What's the other one? Southwest Iowa Advancement? What's that? Or,
They have real specific
Now,
missions,
so aren't they the same idea though, or not?
kind of, but it's
Different level.
different. Yeah, different.
Because
focus.
you're talking, I mean, urban versus rural, which I hate to go down that path, but get back again to the infrastructure. I mean, we don't have broadband out here in these communities, so that lessens our, I guess, willingness for people to become more attracted to these areas.
For example, we can't get the Googles and the Amazons
sure.
and things like that, because we do not
But
have
even from the
technology.
entrepreneurial standpoint, if the guy moves
Yeah.
here and works out of his home as his office, and he can't get logged on to Skype with his buddy in Bangladesh or wherever he's supposed to China and sell his grain, it's not, he's gonna move into Omaha and get in a high-rise apartment and do his work right there.
Actually, you can do that here. They do it all the time. But not to Bangladesh,
Yeah, I'm just not to that level.
but not in large capacities where you've
They
got
know
not
this,
one, but
they get
15,
used
20
to the
people.
speed, I mean, it's no worse than government. So if I create this level of service here, and in 2 years we say, well, we're gonna take that away, or we're gonna lessen that, you're gonna say, no, no, no. So we're our worst, and then we bring the level of service up another notch, and another, that becomes the new expectation for everybody. Well, when did we stop doing that? You know? And these younger kids, I mean, this is it. I mean, it's gonna not, you've seen the last 7 years, you wait till you see the next 7 years.
Sure.
You know?
You have to be ready for that.
Yeah, you better be getting ready for it. I mean, it's coming fast. Faster than some of us wanna admit, you know? But, you know,
Going back to
I don't think, take a cookie cutter approach and say, this is gonna work for Oakland. And this, what Oakland's doing here, that can work in Carson.
Right.
And what's happening in Boca can work in Macedonia. Now, I don't think, I just don't think, you know, there might be,
more
there might be pieces of that might be able to click in there, but I don't think you can just use a cookie cutter approach that, you know, it's gonna work just because it works for plant. It's gonna work in Oakland and Macedonia and Carson. It just ain't gonna do
So
it.
where's all that now? The whole water system. What's the
We
next
have
step?
a meeting again,
The report's
today.
supposed to be, was it today? Oh,
We
there was a
haven't-
meeting today?
No, it's,
No.
the report's supposed, a week from today, I said that we're supposed to meet a week from today, and then the report's
week
this
from
week. I
The
think
report,
it's a
the
week from
draft,
today at 8 a.m.
the draft of the report today?
No, that's supposed to be this sometime this week is all I heard.
sometime this week.
Okay.
And that report's gonna explain what is.
What we take to do basically. No.
Yeah, we have
Right.
No, it's
a
just,
meeting on the
because
7th.
there was only, from Pot County, I think there was only 5 people there. There was only 2 mayors. Well, one mayor came, Shay, he was like, yeah, he was like a cartoon character, he smokes right rolling out of his ears.
Oh yeah, he called me
can only
later.
So
He called me
left-
later.
So he left and then,
And I talked to Kevin after.
Kevin must have been waiting outside, waiting for him to leave, because he left, Kevin came in.
Took his place.
Yeah.
So it was a place coming in.
Yeah, and I talked to Kelly. So I talked, in just less than 2 days, I had talked to 3 of the people that were, yeah.
And then I think Denny was, because he was pretty close to Lynn Ford, because Denny's usually at those, and such, but, yeah, and whatever the structure, there should have been, from the council's perspective, in the minutes at WIDA, it would have been my, I guess, feeling that there should have been a designated person every January of who the representatives for that community is in WIDA.
It's not important to them though, that's the thing.
What?
Yeah.
It's not important to them.
No, I understand that, because, you know, Groby is there, doesn't even live in Hancock, and says he represents Hancock, but where in the minutes does it say that you represent Hancock? You
I know what you mean.
I mean,
Well, that happens a lot.
and then if
We've
the
never
group-
seen the trainer.
Well, and the trainer never came, hardly ever, but if the group comes to a consensus and says, it's not convenient for us to meet at 7 in the mornings, and we don't need to meet every month, then let's meet on whatever the second Sunday or whatever the day and time it is before you get the most consensus of the group. The Lori was working for the group wasn't working for Lori, but it appeared that Lori was running the group.
Well, and I think going forward, when we move forward with the new design, I doubt that we'd have to meet that often. Because hiring somebody to be a tech person to do a website, and keeping things updated, and keeping constant contact with all the cities as far as updates and stuff like that should be the main priority, to make sure that when somebody goes out there looking for a house and they don't live in Iowa, they can hit a website they can just click on towns and get all options available to them, so that they don't necessarily have to drive 200 miles or whatever to get there to find out there's nothing. So.
I will let you know that Trulia and Willow, or whatever the ones that are out there, Zillow and True, they've gotten real better in recent past. Their stuff is pretty stale up there.
Right, and plus
But
you don't get that.
You can't post stuff on it because it undervalues the rural properties. Like, I mean, just if you put it in a Boca, put a $300,000 house for sale on there, they say 240. They say because they give you like a true price estimate. Yeah.
Oh, they put a number on there?
Yeah, they'll estimate what your house is worth on it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, people quit using it because it just kills you.
When I went,
Like,
when I went looking
You know?
for the stuff,
Yeah.
it said, well, that house has been sold for a year and a half.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
and
yeah,
they-
exactly.
and they still got it out there. And by the time you spend the time to go look and try to figure out, well, that's kind of a nice neighborhood, or that's nice. Already been sold? Yeah.
Well, and it doesn't have people that are for sale by owners.
Right, the
You
fish
know,
must know.
And those are the ones that, the acreages and things like that. I
Right.
have a friend of mine that's looking for 10 years for an acreage out here in this area, and they're just dying to buy, and they can't find one.
The other,
Well,
the
driving
other,
around here in the middle of nowhere, that's time consuming and gas, and they can just go to click.
are you still recording?
Yes, we got a lot of agenda left to
You
go.
got the volume on? Oh, okay. The other thing is though, and you just take it for what it's worth. And I had this conversation 20 years ago, and I won't say with who, and with some community leaders. And I think the sooner we, as a county and Southwest Iowa and Iowa in general, get with whether you're agnostic or not, or atheist or whatever, get with our religious institutions and start being more inclusive and accepting of other people. Because if we don't get more warm bodies here, because all I see in Iowa is white old guys, we're our own worst enemies.
Right.
So the churches have the best opportunity to bring family, moral valued people here than any other thing I can think of in my past life. So I think without, and like I said, you have to be acceptance of the change in what you're normally looking at for the landscape. Unless you like to look at old white guys. You can shut that off now. So, I mean, whatever that's worth.
Thank you.
I think it's pretty important, because in our county, it's about 600 people born and 600 people die every year. And it's
Right.
just-
Doesn't change much.
It hasn't changed in 15 years now. Yeah. We gotta have warm bodies to have jobs.
I just know, like, think about this. We spend, just as a wide organization, was it 40 grand a year on tourism marketing?
Yeah.
I mean, you think about this. Neola, Avoca, Shelby, Oakland, Carson, Macedonia, Walnut, McClellan, Underwood, Trainer, Crescent, Marnie. How do you spend 40 grand on tourism? There's like,
Where are they going to go?
you got like Walnut's Main Street, that's about the only thing that's
Sure.
really a tourist attraction.
It is.
If we spent, so Avoca, I know for certain, spends about $10,000 a year marketing housing. And in the last 3 years, they've grown the number of houses in the community 4%. I don't know what we can do as an area if we spent 40 grand trying to get people to live in our small towns, especially if we're ready. You gotta have like a product to sell. And you guys are pretty close. You know what I mean? But we're just blowing money like crazy on tourism. It's a waste.
Well,
You know.
you know, my mind is, if it wasn't for, if it really for Council Bluffs, if it wasn't for I-80 and 29,
That's the sense
you
of coming
know, there
through.
wouldn't, you know, you could spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on tourism. They don't even want to admit the value of 80 and 29,
Yeah.
you know? I mean, it's just huge,
Yeah.
you know? I mean,
So,
so.
and if you're within 20 miles of it, you're gonna go to Omaha, more likely.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
that's-
Well,
that's right.
you just, all you have to do is sit out here
Sure.
at about 5:30 in the morning when it's dark in the fall and in the winter and watch the amount of headlights that come flocking out of here to go into there every day. I mean, it's just amazing, you know? But, those are really critical assets,
Sure they are.
I mean, these communities, if you guys had sit alongside the interstate, and then have another decent way into town, and you're gonna have the trail and stuff, and you're probably incorporate a river trail or something, you guys really are gonna have, you know, it's the, you know, I'm not speaking on something I ain't said before, but Carson and Macedonia are gonna have tough road to hoe. I mean, it's just gonna be tough.
To draw people.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, it's not easy to get there.
yeah, they're outside out of my country,
Right.
you know? I mean, it's not that they're bad communities or anything like that, but there's not a lot of opportunity there from a employment standpoint.
Sure.
Gas prices get high again, then people want to get closer in again. So, but I really think, and I know it sounds crazy, but engaging those religious institutions and getting some young people here, maybe not the ones that you're used to looking at, but, you know, we all were in that boat one time, supposedly to read the book. You know. So, thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. Thanks for
sir.
coming, Scott.
Glad you can see us.
May
Feel free to
7th,
come again.
Yeah.
May
I
7th,
will.
8 o'clock a.m.
Or your next
Hey,
meeting.
hey, switch me time.
Yes,
Why?
because I don't like 7.
7's not good for
This is
Clint.
5:30.
They said.
I
No,
know, it
serious.
ain't good for
The
Dawn
first
either.
meeting, the first meeting
No.
was 7. I got, how late was I? I was within 15 minutes. And I was like, I'm not coming to these meetings if they want to have a meeting. We had a meeting every day, every Monday for like four
7.
weeks.
At like 8 o'clock.
I was
We have
like,
to
they
go.
must change.
I was kind of like
This is
it.
on the list
I
of
was kind of like
names.
it.
Yeah,
I had to look
because they're like
twice.
old
'cause I-
white guys, that's why.
Well,
Yeah.
Only old white guys get up at 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
5:30, because at first I thought, well, the meeting's probably after, because I thought you were having a public hearing at 4:30 on the annexation. So I thought originally, wow, man, that's pretty early, 4:30. And then I went back and looked, and I said, oh, it's 5:30. So did you have a public hearing on that,
No,
on the annexation?
no.
We're not to that part yet.
It's
We're not to that part
got a
yet.
lot to go yet, bud.
We haven't even
But
got
was it
there.
scheduled for
gosh.
5:30, the public hearing?
No, it's part of our agenda.
Okay, I thought it was posted, public hearing for annexation at 5:30.
We always put it at the meeting start time.
Yeah.
And make people sit until the end of the meeting?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's talk, it's
Whoa.
called
Then we have to estimate why.
We're
community
curious.
We
involvement.
would move it up if people were.
Just
here.
like-
You're
like
not
I moved
serving-
you up.
You're not
We didn't-
serving cookies.
We
and
didn't even
stuff.
have public comments to the end, but look, here you are talking.
Yeah. Yeah, we move stuff around, we're good. Public comment was number 20. And Scott Bell was public comment. There was
Oh,
nobody
I
else.
saw the link to the agenda. I thought, when they gonna do the public hearing? Because normally most public hearings are done at the first
First, yeah.
of every agenda night.
Yeah, I understand.
No one comes to our meetings either.
They don't?
You know, you're talking about broadband, so,
I see you got that guy, so that'd be interesting.
yeah, he's gonna come to the meeting on, what was it, July 9th? Is that a Thursday?
Sounds about right.
July
Is he
something.
from Minnesota?
You know, he's from Des Moines,
Okay,
but he works for IMU.
okay.
But just so you know, it's likely, and there's a conversation you should have with Walnut Communications, because I had been talking to them for years in Avoca, and once we finally started to get our new subdivision built, they are going on a multi-year build out, but they're approving they're going to put a fiber network in.
Oh, they are?
In Avoca, yeah.
What did
They came to our
they-
meeting they came to our meeting last week.
Have they ever said, or will this guy be able to tell us what critical mass is for them?
Yeah, he knows.
Okay.
He's really good. So I work for Adair in Adair County, and we're doing this exact same thing where the city partners with local telecom to construct a municipal broadband network.
Well, I don't know.
And
if
it's with this Casey Telephone and Adair.
I don't know for certain, but
Are they lit up now,
Century
or
Link-
not?
Almost, we're getting ready to start, yeah.
I thought that's what Century Link did. They did a big project out here not long ago, and we had to give them right away again. And I thought
Oh,
they-
yeah, but that's not for you.
Well, I know, but why?
That's dark. There's more dark fiber in Iowa than probably anywhere in
So,
the country.
Yeah,
what's
and you
the-
don't know if it's even
What's the hurdle
upstream or
for us to
downstream.
be able to access it? I mean, when it comes through your community, why are you not? Is that all it is?
Yeah, so like Farmers Mutual Telecom provides service in Hancock that runs right down 59 through the middle of Avoca. You can't buy it. A fiber does. See, there's network, there's fiber that's essential to going back and forth between the switch. So there's like all these digital switches.
The hubs.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have service lines off of them. Just because there's a line there doesn't mean it's something that you can get service on. It's really, I don't totally understand it, but it's a.
But there's
It's-
more fiber running up and down that rail track, that interstate, and any of those other pipelines or wherever they can get in an easement with somebody than anywhere else in the country. And we're in the hub because the fiber's running north and south and east and west.
We just can't get it.
That's why all them database boys are
Well, sure.
are locating around here, because if their stuff goes down, and let's say it goes down in South Carolina, they're not gonna know it, because within a millisecond, this one in the middle of the country has picked it up, and there's no loss of, so.
Yeah, kind of where I was going with that is, so what Janelle, the CEO, has told me is that if you develop a new area, so like the subdivision that we're doing, if you develop that new area, I think that if it's feasible at all, they'll take fiber out to it. And I think it's a good point to start that discussion with them. And fiber will build out, yeah.
Are they burying everything?
Yeah.
They can take it overhead places too.
No, I know, but it's just clean. Are you burying
Everything new we will.
And actually, they came out again, Walnut Communication came out again and started flagging again, so I'm not sure what they're doing.
I don't know either.
Because they buried lines in our yard and we got flags back in there again,
Yeah.
so I don't know if they're doing something else now or what.
In front,
Yeah.
did you sign up for the flag program? Relocated for all those?
Are they Walnut Communications?
No, everybody.
Everybody had to,
locate.
you had to locate
You call it
everybody.
locate.
So they're
One
doing all,
call.
there's white, blue, red, they're all up. Locate for every person's house.
To put
that
the
we-
flags
Big.
up.
Could you
So that's why there's.
all your?
That
infrastructure
explains it.
down
There you go.
We don't have electrical, it's all Mid-American.
there? So they're still putting up poles?
No, they do it underground, but see what happens is they pass the cost on to the developer. So the developer, for new stuff, they'd probably put it above ground if you wanted to. It's
No,
just,
I would never want.
yeah, but all the quotes I've seen are for
Yeah,
underground.
they try to say how much more it costs to put it
Hey, guys.
underground than.
I'm getting the,
Thanks,
we gotta
Scott.
get going, signal. Thank
Well,
you, Scott.
I was just trying to run the tape out so we didn't have to record anymore.
He's probably got a 10-hour tape in there.
Well, make sure.
Thank you.
Make sure it gets edited.
I will.
See you guys.
Bye, thanks, Scott.
Yep, appreciate it.
Okay, number 8, discussion of possible action with Irwin attending Iowa Municipal Professional Institute. Anybody have any comments about that?
Great idea.
Nope.
Make a motion that she attends it.
Motion by Carla.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Nicole. All in favor? Opposed? So moved. Great. I'm gonna zip right through these lists. Number 9, discussion of possible action on speed sign on the post by the interstate coming into town.
I say we don't do it.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Yeah. We'll pass it for now. We'll just move on. 10, discussion of possible action on Easy Enterprise, LLC 5-year contract for grounds that currently mow Neola Town sign proposal as well.
5-year contract,
Yeah,
really?
are we within our rights to do this or just come out?
I think it's because of possible, somebody's in competition with someone else type thing,
I
so
think
they get like locked in.
No, this, he kind of explained it to me, he was gonna do all the seeding down there at that ball diamond.
Yeah.
And he
Not
also
all that
needs to
seed,
be
he's gonna do
monitored.
everything that, he wants to keep it up, and he goes, I don't wanna lose it next year and then have somebody else come out, and that's my bad name. He goes, if I can have a 5-year contract, and this grass gets 100% established, that would make him feel better, but that's just what he's proposing. I mean,
Okay.
that's why I put that in there.
All right,
Well,
so-
I do know, Saturday, the girls and I and the dog were walking down there. And I walked by and looked at that Neola sign and went, God, this looks awful. And I came home and he has this proposal in there. And I was like, yeah, something needs done, it looks bad.
Now, it's kind of goes down, doesn't it? Are they gonna have to build it up a little bit in order to build some, in order to do that?
No, I don't think so. I just think
Something with existence.
it's gonna be more colorful. I mean, the bushes are big and kind of,
It's overgrown.
yeah, it's overgrown and
Like
needs,
he said, they lived their life.
Yes.
They're just too much.
so I was very happy to see this proposal on the sign.
I have no problem with that. Does anybody have a motion?
Well, I would like to talk about this contract.
Oh, yeah.
What's the?
Let's separate them out. Can we separate them out? Let's talk about the sign first, and then we'll go back to that contract, that 5-year
They don't
contract.
tie, they're not tied together, right? Just-
No, I don't believe they
Well, no, the
are.
only thing is if we do the 5-year contract, he won't charge any labor to do the sign.
Oh,
That's
that-
the stipulation.
Yeah, that's the stipulation.
And we buy the plants through
Take
Turk.
care.
I
Yeah.
thought it was if we bought
thought-
the plants through him,
yeah.
the labor would be
That's,
free.
the way I
No,
read it was if we
do
bought
the
all the
5-year
plants.
contract.
Well, it does say
I'm proposing that
$1,200
we on
free.
existing bushes, this will be no charge for labor if the plants are purchased through my company.
Look at
And then he says, I'm also proposing a
That's
5-year
separate, isn't it?
contract. To me, it's two different things.
Yeah, it is. This is separate right here, is the sign with the free
Yes,
labor on
with the
here.
free labor
And
on
then
there.
this is,
Labor to deliver and install,
Oh,
1,200 with
wow.
that price ticket right here, this page. It says right here with contract.
Aha. It does.
It does.
oh, well, there you go.
All right, so getting back to the contract then, Clint, is that a legit deal?
Yeah.
To him just offer us a 5-year contract after we just awarded it through bidding process? Even though that wasn't part of our bidding
No big deal.
negotiation?
It's up to you. I mean, services, you can always just pick who you want.
Well, he's done a good job, he's been the fairest guy.
This guy's been really
exactly.
cheap and
Yes.
pretty reliable.
Yes.
Can we make, is he going to actually fulfill his obligations with 5 years with the flowers as well?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, he
Yes.
will
The
take
one who was a
that.
good one. I
Yeah.
lost a good one. I was gonna go for it.
Okay.
50 years to get it figured out.
So if we sign a 5-year contract, and we're locked in, stuff starts not getting done right,
We've
we're
been,
locked in.
Well, we need to see the contract, there's no contract.
Yeah, there's really not a contract here.
Okay, so we need a contract. So can we table this for a contract and meet, when we meet up on the next meeting, we can put this on the agenda to actually
See what the
approve the
contract
contract
is.
is? Okay,
What it says.
all right,
What the
Yes.
stipulations of the
Kind of need to
contract
review
are.
it before we see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
okay. So agenda for next one, Amy, or Heidi, sorry.
We
And then,
have-
okay, all right.
We all clear?
We have a motion to,
Table, all motion to table.
second.
More details.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Good.
Art.
Mark.
All right,
Who seconded that one?
Robert?
Lockheed.
Rob did.
okay. Next one, number 11, discussion possible action on park project. And I do believe that is the concession stand.
Well, I think we have to figure out what we're going to do this year, which
What?
concession stand definitely needs,
Yeah.
but those fields need done, redone. Something needs done, because they are not good.
The ones that we had in grade.
Yes,
Really?
Well,
because when I was walking, I mean, they're very unlevel. I was kind of looking at it going, happened down here.
I've kind of wanted to.
And the girls were going,
What
look, they're
caused
kind
that?
of
The water?
hilly.
What caused that?
Well, and it depends on what part of it. So, you know, right now, I think out here where these fields are mostly, it's not horrible.
It's gonna settle.
It is gonna settle.
Yeah.
But over here where the parking lot and the concession stand are intended to be, and down in this corner, it's bad. Now, you know, there's still an issue of drainage, and we talked about tiling before. I think myself, I think that's just something we should just do. You get a tile field branch of the creek and there's just a drain, and then that helps eliminate standing water in that ditch. But as far as the field condition, I don't even know who in the world you actually talk to come and say, hey,
I don't know,
is this a
but
professional fault or, you know, acceptable surface?
I don't think it is. I mean,
Well,
that's
we,
just personal opinion,
Just
walking
by
by and looking at it
eyeballing.
going,
I know that we
Whoa.
had talked about that because we had some water issues, puddles in the
Yeah.
soccer field,
Yeah. And that's
which means
mostly-
it's not
The biggest
even.
thing is you just normally do like a, so this is, we kind of did this halfway, I would say, in my opinion.
yes,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
We had a field survey done, it was kind of a survey, and it was done to that survey, but there was no oversight of it. You know,
Well,
typically how you do it is your engineer would do a topo,
yes.
and they'd set grades everywhere, and then when the guy was out there grading, you'd have the construction manager making sure they hit all the marks that were
But
supposed
that
to.
didn't get done.
Right.
No,
No.
thank-
No, and what happened was, my understanding was, it was graded to what the program said it should be graded to. Problem was, when that happened, it graded it to the bottom of the ditch, basically. So then you had nowhere for water to go. So then, it was kind of fly by the seat of your pants and try to make it better, and that's where it all went down. You know, it
So did
wasn't-
the person we had do it know what they were doing, or what?
Well, I think so. I think he was put in a bad position myself, is what happened.
Well, we gotta do.
What do we do to rectify it though? What do we do?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's what I think. I don't believe that we need to redo the entire thing.
You're not really out any more than you would have been if you just would have, I think, done it a little bit different up front. You know, if you're gonna have anybody help you run it, you probably should just get some more topography shot on it and then see if what needs to be done to, yeah.
So resurvey the field. And then decide what we're gonna do.
You're gonna have some topo work out there no matter what, if you
Well,
build a
there's,
building. up
right,
there.
that's the thing. You know, along that dividing line between the existing park and the new park, that's all gonna get torn up again regardless.
Right.
But, you know,
That's
and
soccer
this,
field.
the people planning on using the field, they understand, and I don't think they believe they're gonna be out there this year. I mean, nobody's gonna be playing on it this year. Let's see how they do.
Right.
Grass is already established.
Well, it should be a priority because we can't
Yes.
do
I
anything
think
until
so
we get it
too.
done.
And then we need
As
to
far
talk
as
to
with
someone
that
just,
seating.
That's
well, that's,
start
we need to,
anyways.
I think Clint has the right idea because we need someone to assess whether we can, you know, do something with what we have or if we do need to
Redo it.
redo it or fix it.
Right.
It's gonna cause major damage. But even before we seed it more, I would
Right,
think.
right,
Right.
The guys
Yeah, I don't
haven't
think we
succeeded
should.
at all.
You
They
get
were
Yeah, I
too
don't
much
think
stuff
we should.
established, yeah.
yeah.
And is there gonna be an issue with the seed that we have
Should
storing
be
it?
good. We've got 200 pounds of seed there.
And it'll last for a
It's gonna
long
be good
time.
this year.
Yeah.
It's a 2018 seed, so
Okay.
it should be okay this year.
So,
So
It's
what
gonna
are our
be-
resources then? Are we talking back to an engineering firm to have that done, or is there a private company that you've had experience with that can do that for us?
I mean, I would just keep working with, I mean, if you're okay with Snyder, I would, or if you're not, I would just get a firm like them, one or two.
I don't.
I don't know.
We've had some issues in there,
The
but
trail, yeah, well, that's a whole different group.
I know they're-
I think that's mostly more of a project problem than it is, you know.
And if they make it a priority for us, as long as they remain
Yes.
make it a priority for us. then-
Yeah.
because we have to.
Right.
So-
No, there's no reason why we can't do both of them at the same time, right?
I think you got $250,000 to spend easy on this project.
Right.
I mean, we had that saved up a long time ago.
And the building, I mean, the building elevation could be plus or minus close, whatever it's gonna be, I would think. I mean, what it is right now, it's not gonna change drastically, I wouldn't imagine, but. So,
So do we okay to put bids out there for the building, the concession stand?
I don't think you have a problem with that.
Okay.
If you're okay with this design, this kind of is like what you were talking about, but it's just one of, I mean, you could do it differently. I think they sent this over just so that you could look at something that actually existed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been to it.
I do like this
I like
one.
this.
The other one I saw was more of a pool element, I think it was. It was a longer neck that went out that could hold more
Yeah.
picnic
Off the
tables.
side, it was
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
over, yeah.
which is more pool related, I think, than versus a baseball diamond type concession stand. This would give us enough room to maybe put 2 or 3 picnic tables under there maybe, which would
Oh.
be sufficient.
This is second. Keep talking.
You're gonna look it up, are you?
No, no.
To see how many they
No,
have?
I took pictures the other night of a different one.
Good. The one I saw too was a picture that, and my husband informed me that you could put colored lights in anything, but I like the aspect of the colored light effect so that it actually stuck out when you saw it. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Iowa Western right now because they did the remodel and they've got blue lights on the buildings, which really makes the building look wonderful. So colored lights on the outside to make it effect that people will actually see it, but that's here nor there.
This is a table, so they have a
Doesn't
Mill
look like it
Valley
has gutters,
New
though.
Sports
Does it have
Complex.
gutters, or is this just
I
not
showed him
building?
Derek
Like
Riley.
high tops.
He liked those because he said you can't move them.
Let's see.
well,
put
they're
them in the
anchored in place.
concrete,
Looks
yes.
like it.
Oh.
But there's no chairs, I mean, but you
It's
can
just
just
a plain
stand there.
flat top.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I
And
just-
they're, you know, for
Uh-huh.
a couple people,
Yeah.
but it was very nice. And
Although,
also, I don't know if you can see, I was showing them, in front of them, those are just those, like, boulders you buy at a concrete place.
oh
They had
yeah,
set around, and people just sat on
Oh,
them.
they're like
Yeah.
sections of concrete
Yeah.
retaining wall.
That's all they were.
Or like the very large retaining wall
And people
blocks.
just sat on around,
Oh, yeah.
watching the truck
Yeah.
meet.
That'd be a good way to help isolate traffic from going off into
Right, and Eric said they aren't very
It's
expensive
like
either.
bar top
And
table.
like, and like, no, but those
the,
blocks
so the
too.
big concrete
Yeah,
blocks.
Nobody's gonna walk away with them.
No,
No.
it's not gonna hurt them very well. Painful. I don't have a problem with either of these designs. I kind of was hoping that we would be able to incorporate another, like a garage space for storage involved with the athletic equipment that's gonna have to be out there. So, like onto the very back side of it.
I'm sure you could.
Maybe we'll have something, somebody will definitely want to
Well,
request.
I mean, you're gonna have, especially if we do these different sizes of fields, you know, you're gonna have
Yes.
different goal sizes. And the ball diamond has always been into the black for baseball diamonds and
it'll
all.
be
all
dependent
of
on how
that.
much space
Or
we
bases.
have to work with. But you
Well,
know,
we've got as much as we've
Right.
got hundreds of feet.
because
Yes.
you know, you could logistically use that space for storage for the concession stand and for other storage as well, couldn't you? And we
Yeah,
could
no,
put it
well,
in the middle.
Yeah, but I
And
mean,
then put the
you have to
bathrooms
think
on the
though,
backside?
if you're gonna have like gasoline powered equipment and whatnot in there, you're not gonna have that.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, I don't want
I
that.
was thinking more along the line of sports equipment, more so
But-
than gasoline
You know,
stuff.
like, I mean, conceivably, a mower or a four-wheeler to drag the fields, I mean, there's.
Do we have any, do we use anything now?
There's
Do we-
four out,
okay.
a little bit top four.
Yeah.
We might
Wow.
have to think about building
What do you think
a
that?
different alternative building that's
Yeah.
not hooked up or, you know, that's adjacent to
Just
that.
own unit.
Yeah, I don't know that we want to put anything with, that's got gas or anything with, anything with
Well, that's the
concessions.
engineers to determine.
Yeah.
how you
I don't know if
do
that's
that.
legal as far
Well,
as
no, that's
food.
not. That's why we have engineers. for
Well,
this. I mean, I wanted
Well,
to.
yeah.
I think your
That's a
biggest
technical-
question is how do you build this things? You know, I know that they all push these cement block, you know, decorative block buildings, but that makes them super expensive, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't know that a steel frame building, I mean,
I'm only
I
using
don't
it in the
know.
summer.
Yeah, exactly, it's only a summer
You
use.
don't need it
and it's-
insulated that much, so.
No.
What if, I don't know, if we're
You
not
could make
gonna
it
have a
look
construction.
attractive.
Initially, my hope was we would have something down there for storm, but then we mentioned that to meet that true standard is a whole nother level of construction.
That's what I was thinking too, that we're under no obligation to do support or
No, when we
provide
don't
that.
have. Can they give us, I mean, they could surely break it out and say this floor plan, kind of, or masonry versus framed construction, what the difference would be.
Yeah.
And we need to also think, I believe, on, in the bathrooms as to what all of those fixtures are gonna be. You know, if you guys have ever been down at the Council Bluffs fields where they have the soccer field and the baseball ones, that's all stainless steel.
Yes.
And nothing ever, I mean, probably more expensive, but long term,
Yeah. It's
toilets aren't getting busted and,
Mhm.
you know, to me, that's work.
Do they have sensors in their sinks and in their toilets?
How, you, if you can lose
Because
those,
you
that's
were-
been
Like
better.
doing the toilets, I
Yeah.
think that they do.
Because those sensors, they're temperature sensitive, so you have to watch that they don't get a certain temperature, they freeze type thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the old handle ones.
Yeah.
Simple,
It works
Yeah.
just fine.
yes.
Jeremy,
Yeah.
When you
how
shut
many
them off.
horror stories do you have about what goes on in your bathrooms?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my experience too. It's like, you wouldn't believe what goes on in these
Right, they
bathrooms.
need to
Oh,
be
yeah.
as indestructible as possible.
You need to be able to have someone bring a hose in there and spray it down.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree, I mean, that, truly, I think so, whatever it is. Not that far,
Yeah.
just,
It's really,
yeah, good, strong,
Just go in there like a jail.
yeah.
And if we're putting this out for bids, do we put it out for the grandstand cover?
Well, I mean, if they're down to doing work, yes, it's just, we need to focus on what, you know, what's this gonna cost us, I think that needs to be our focus.
And you guys
And
could have
if
a
we
whole-
have extra, absolutely, we should, I think.
well, that.
Well, we were given
Could've covered-
insurance money
Right, we
to
should
do
have
that,
been,
right?
yes, 2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
But
I agree, it needs to, that cover
one
needs to be
day,
that, so.
I saw, you know, these like tarps.
I think,
Yes.
I think they're great, those
I-
high tension
Yes,
shades.
that I
think
think,
they're
They're
awesome.
a lot
I
more
think it would
attractive.
be really
Yes,
funky
they are really
looking.
cool.
I think it'd be really cool. Black and gold,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? They're kind of in
Usually
triangulars
triangular
and,
shape, yes. I've
and
thought
I
the
don't
same
know
thing
how
about it.
expensive they are,
No.
but, you know, they're only gonna get used a couple months out of the year, basically, and
I
then
think
could be
they-
taken
well, I
down.
don't know, I think they leave them up pretty much always.
It all depends on what you get.
Oh, really? Because
But-
it's a tensioning process, I mean, there's cables that run through there and they pull the cables tight and that's what.
Okay, so
Snowfall and everything else.
we need to get with, engineers about the field and we need to
And the
get
structure.
in the structure.
And then what are we gonna do about the parking lot? Or can they give us idea if we're gonna pave it or gravel it for now too? Because that was a huge part of the cost, if I remember
I
correctly.
mean,
You know, one thing, I think that
Can you
you
get
could probably make this
one
work, if you looked at this, and say, what would it take? Can you give us $250,000 budget to do the west side, the west half of this thing?
yes,
You know what I mean?
exactly, that's what I think too,
Right.
if
You
we
know what I
could do
mean?
that.
Right.
And just see where you're at, you know?
Yes.
Because this deal is way more expensive than what you realize. It's a
Or
little
the
bit
turnaround,
off,
yeah, and I don't know if it's.
Yeah, no, I would, that was the first
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Where it has
Yeah.
that horseshoe turnaround and those small.
Yeah.
No, I think it's more important to get one nice driveway in
Yeah.
and the concession stand,
Yeah.
Right.
and the fields.
Yes.
Right. All right, so do we have Snyder on
Can you,
consignment for this or what?
can you talk with them and tell them,
Okay.
express this and see what they can do?
Yeah, I can have a contract for you next time.
Good, perfect. And Teresa, great.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, good. We'll put it on the calendar. All right, awesome. All right, moving on. Oh, yeah. Let's make a motion to table this until the next
Would
meeting.
you like to see some options for sunshades too?
Well, I
Yes,
was just
please.
trying to, I had
Do
it
we,
on here,
that's
but
a separate thing.
even
We
if
have
it's
money
not
for that,
working.
right?
You could spend a lot, like something like that may cost 40 grand.
Yeah.
Like that big.
Well, they need big steel columns, you know, rigid columns to hold the force.
So there was, if you've ever been to the Avoca Pool, on the east side of it, there's two banks of what do you call it, bleachers. And to have a sunshade that stretched over 4 poles to provide shade over it was like $46,000.
Wow.
So that's kind of, but they look really cool. I mean, they're really,
I don't remember what we got reimbursed for the one that was blown away.
I think it was like 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
Okay.
Because it was pretty much some poles, shed
Yeah, it
poles
was-
and like,
It's like a lean-to. really.
yeah.
All right, do I have a motion to table this till May 11th?
I'll motion the table and give instruction that Clint to get the contract ready for the next meeting.
Good. Second?
Second.
Nicole, all in favor? Opposed? Good. All right, number 12, discussion of possible action on selling the green truck.
I make a motion to sell it.
Any
We're gonna
second?
take,
For how much?
well, that's the thing, we're
Oh,
gonna take
yeah.
sealed bids
Sort
and,
of like that.
Those aren't cool.
or,
Give him black lemons or whatever, you know what I'm saying? See what I'm talking about.
this
Alright,
is,
what's
this is
that?
an estimated value is between $1,100 and $2,800.
Yeah, probably towards the 1100 range.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Those are awesome.
I know. I can't,
How about-
I don't know.
What's the fluctuation because of?
Shape of the vehicle.
Probably the
Interior?
vehicle and the inside of it.
Okay.
So do you guys want to do sealed bids? Or how do you want to sell it, Carla?
Seal bids, yes.
Okay,
Right.
all right.
What's the minimum? Or not?
Yeah, there should be a minimum.
I suppose a minimum of, what, 1,000? Is that too little?
What's the
I mean, it's
cumulative
got
minimum?
It's four-wheel drive truck, right? It's worth $1,000.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Run good.
1,500?
No, I mean, it's not a new truck, I mean,
15, minimum of 15.
Minimum 15.
settle on that?
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. All right. The first time like this. Okay. Discussion of possible, discussion of possible action on street repair bids. Eric got this for us.
So there's a bridge repair on here. You're gonna have to ignore that because the county fixed that.
And I did actually put something out for the guys to take a look at the front part going out of town, that one strip, because they fixed the back strip going out, but they didn't fix the front one. And there is a beam that's actually showing a metal strip that some of the cement has come off on the right-hand
It was
corner.
to make it move.
Did you
County look at it,
Okay, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
What did they have to say about it?
at some point the bridge is gonna get
Replace it?
Yeah, exactly.
done.
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't know how soon.
Well, I
It's just
thought-
kind of a temporary fix for a while to
Yeah.
keep people happy.
I thought when I spoke with John that was kind of like on his list, like the ones he's done amending and around the county with.
I just
He-
let that one take care of
Yeah,
itself.
if people aren't crashing off of it, it's good enough for me right now.
Okay.
I went and drove by all these places today on the list. And I agree with all of them. My question was the third in Mandel, is that by the Craft House? Is that the one they're talking about, like Jan?
That would be,
Craft.
that would be third and then down.
Because right where you come down their street, it kind of,
Yeah.
We need,
is
Right at
that
the
what they're
curb.
talking about?
it's just for the, I think the crack filling. The third Mandel's just for crack fill and
Is it?
seal,
Because
yeah.
I thought that crack filling was all in the front. And they've got the
It's all
third
third
Mandel
Mandel.
listed in the back.
I know I saw a deal there a number of years ago where it looked like it was being undermined right at the
Yeah,
top.
maybe.
It was a big hollow spot. I don't know if that
I'll call Tracy and ask him. Yeah, it must be a mill out, I don't know what spot, but I know Craftsman's done, I was gonna, because that curb and gutter is right on that sidewalk too, and there's no
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
he can do curb and gutter with asphalt, so
If I'm
Gotta
not
be
mistaken,
just a partial on the top, I don't know.
I thought we might have broke this out a little bit depending on how much money we have.
Yeah,
left
we
in the
underlined
budget.
what needed to be done
That was like a
first, 'cause we only
priority.
had so much money. But then that 5,500 one for the bridge, you can take that out, because that's done.
So we're talking like 30,000.
I think we had
Yeah.
20-some thousand, was that right?
Yeah, we can spend up to 20.
We wanted to keep a little cushion there until July 1st, but I think we had like
Okay.
20,000,
It's
so.
nice.
Well, yeah.
So
And then we
it's
can
2
do the
months.
rest after July 1st.
What?
We could do 20 now and then the rest after July 1st,
Yeah.
unless you guys want it done all now.
The one on,
I don't see.
Second Street was like a necessity.
Oh, yeah.
What?
I mean, they patched it, you guys patched it, but it is.
This scam- this
And then the
scam-
one over there, coming up Fourth Street, in Bardsley, that's, to me, that's cheap, because
Right.
that whole section chunked out.
Right.
So, that's another one that's, if you're riding on a motorcycle or a
Yeah,
bike,
you
you're
get
gonna have a
crushed.
problem.
The thing I would do, like the 5500, would keep that in there and do the alleys. And we got some alleys that need crack filled and, just to, so we don't get them any worse, like what happened on this alley here. You know,
Well,
we get crack filled.
That's true, because I don't see the sense in ever replacing those alleys with
No.
concrete the way they are.
Crack,
So
crack
we can
filling
maintain
things
them.
up.
Right.
That'd be, some of them.
Yeah, it's Bardsley.
So we're talking like 42, 43,000, between the front and the back.
No, the
No,
35
it's
is the
total.
grand total of
Oh,
the
it's
front and the
And then
back.
take away 5, so we're on 30.
How much is it just this right here?
The front,
Yeah.
8,091, so, no.
No, that's
no, that's-
including that square footage, so second and
So
third.
there's a,
25, maybe. 24.
Well, and it depends on when we get in their pipeline anyway. They're not
Exactly.
gonna do this until in the
might
summer.
be July,
Yeah.
August, before they even come over.
Yeah,
Right.
they already got their summer.
Did
booked out,
Tracy
that's why we
already,
needed
I was
it
gonna
booked.
say, did he give any indication of how far?
He did,
He pushes.
we did it pretty early, so that way we can get it on the list.
It's nice to get it done before winter though, too, again.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
Stuff
that's
likes
gonna
the
be
heat
then,
and-
it won't make much
A little
difference,
moisture
right?
getting in there.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
Fast as we can do it. And I know we
Okay.
talked to Clint to see what we could do this budget year and what we could do next.
Right.
I guess what we need to find out is when we can get it done, because if it's
That's the
before
thing.
the budget, then we can get,
He's not gonna remobilize, come here and then in
No,
another
and then
month
come
bring it
back
back.
again.
He's not gonna do that.
yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
so if he's not here, then we don't have to worry
So-
about it until next budget,
I say we just do it, okay it,
See when,
and just see when.
cross the bridge off there, but get all the rest of the streets done. We can afford it, right?
Okay, anybody wanna make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
We accept Midwest Coatings Company's proposal to do all the streets that they have listed, with the exception of the bridge, whenever they have.
Do we want, do we wanna consider Jeremy's recommendation to use that money instead on the alleys that are cracked up? For
I
cracks
don't
on?
know. I think the streets are more important than the alleys.
Let's
And
table
if
that,
we're questionable about them spending it. I would
let's
just-
table that discussion until we find out what the calendar date is for this. How's that? Okay, all right. I
So
guess
your
that-
motion that stands, yes,
Yes.
second?
Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Great, so moved. Okay. Number 14, discussion of possible action on financing 700 Fifth Street and 403rd Front Street properties.
What is this?
This is, norms and
Oh,
margins.
okay.
Yeah.
Financing.
Yeah.
Oh, there you
Got
So-
paperwork.
Do we have to pay for
go. Those
it?
numbers are really.
No, it's basically just
Okay.
talk.
Discussion.
Yeah, so, we have a couple different options to do this, and part of it will play into our budget amendment, and we got to close on both of them prior to the end of the year. Norms, I kind of basically feel like we should just spend cash on it and just get it taken care of, and then take our time to see what we need to do with it for, like tonight, I don't know, I pulled up, most of you were here already, Carl was pulling up, there was like no place to park when we got here.
Right.
So there's a call here and the city needs it, so, so if you want to study whatever your options are there, but I think you should just use cash on it, and then look at the Myron property, maybe with a line of credit like we discussed with the bank, and just hold that until you run through the project and get more details worked out.
Yeah, sounds good.
We should be able, we could do it as Weiner, we could just term it out. I mean, we have a source of revenue to repay it through the TIF that we're doing with the TIF change that's, will be, once we get past this annexation, we can go into the TIF process of, if you're looking at the maps here, we have a annexation map and then a TIF expansion map. Once we complete the annexation, then it will be in city limits, then we can, there's a different process altogether if you're trying to do TIF and something that's not in city limits, so we just want to wait, don't do that, get this in, and call it,
The temporary is going away with the bank and then
Yeah.
figure out long-term.
Yeah, but we could, I would guess that you'll pay off the program, in less than 3 years. So that's 3 years is basically what I was thinking of. Get it, you have the TIF there next year, just keep maxing it out. There'll be 120 grand a year that you'll have. You should have the land paid off and money towards infrastructure, go for your grants, that kind of thing. But if you want to do it as you could do it as like a 5-year line of credit and just pay it off in chunks. You could do it as a term note if you want to. There's different options, and I can talk to Roger about it. I'm assuming Roger's he's very good for you
Yes,
guys.
yes.
So
Yeah.
Okay.
But you do kind of,
his rates are crazy low.
so you want to talk, have a conversation with him?
Yeah,
and
if
that
that-
is what everybody would be.
Yeah, I can have that on the. We'll just tie it together by the time we close. We have to close in about. Was it June 30 or
First for
June 1st for Myron?
Norman.
For Norman, okay.
Yeah.
And then June 30 for Myron. Is that
Yeah.
okay? Yes, we got a little bit of time.
All right, could I have a motion to table until our May 12th meeting?
I'll move the table.
May 11th, sorry, May 11th.
Move the table till May 11th and Clint will get financing secured with the bank.
Great. Second? All in favor? Opposed? Great. All right, 15, discussion possible action on public hearing for resolution 18-0430-01, approving voluntary annexation request.
So what do we need to do?
At this point, we've done all the process. We've taken our application, we notified the county, we notified the public. You see it pass the resolution, and then there's some steps we need to take on the back end. We need to mail some stuff to the right people to get it, for them to complete it. But basically, the only thing left besides just process is you have to approve it, saying that you want the property in the incorporated limits of the city.
All right. So we just make a motion?
For the resolution.
Yep.
Roll call.
Roll call vote. Okay, Joe?
Aye.
Nicole?
Aye.
Carla?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
So moved. 16, discuss possible action on setting a hearing for fiscal year 18 budget amendment.
When's our regular meeting this month? Is it like the 22nd or
Are you
something?
talking about May?
So
Yeah.
I think it's
we didn't
21st,
necessarily
maybe?
follow the budget the way it's lined out, so we have to amend the way.
Oh, yeah, we can talk about that one. So like every year, unless things have just gone according to plan, basically, the city will likely do some kind of budget amendment, because we have to have the council approve limits of spending in an actual budget document that's provided by the state in order for us not to have that be an audit item at the end, when we get audited after the fiscal year's over. So this thing's off the top of my head, I know, like specifically land acquisition, what's that?
Okay.
Oh, so like we didn't have like buying norms or Myron's budgeted.
Right.
That's stuff that all came up later. We didn't have, we paid off Alan Hedegaard early on his incentives. That wasn't budgeted. Sometimes like wholesale power can exceed wholesale power is an item that can fluctuate a lot. It can go over, but we're mostly good on everything. I went through it the other day, so.
It's just basically giving, us giving authorization to change the way that the budget was structured to meet the way that we spent the money.
All right. Yeah, our meeting's in 21. Regular meeting.
Is moved to what?
Our meeting in May is on the 21st.
Just,
Yeah,
okay, May
as long as we
21st.
have something in the paper next week, we're good.
Okay.
All right. All right. Discussion 17, discuss the possible actions of purchase of possible ambulance.
As part of the amendment process.
What's that?
You know, amendment?
It's a demo unit. We looked at multiple ones. Heidi and Eric went up north to Arrow, looked at a couple, and we ended up finding out those are refurbished ones just like our current ones. So we really don't want to steer away from that. Just because those things we're running into with this one, we don't want to have that same issues again. So then we had 2 other guys come here, show us some ambulance. They were not near what this one was, and they didn't want to give us really anything for our current supply. So we contacted this person. It was coming from Chicago. They were about ready to purchase it until we called. We seen it, and it's the nicest one we've seen for the price. We can't build one for this price at all, not anywhere near it. So we thought we would bring it to you guys and put a down payment down so we can hold it and keep it for us. So that's what we propose.
And will they take our old one?
We're gonna try selling that out for more money.
All right.
How much, Jeremy,
I'm
was the
hoping-
trade-in that they
I'm
were
hop-
gonna give us?
How much were they gonna do for trade?
Right?
About like the other, not much. 2,500.
Yeah.
And that's not, I don't think we could find somebody to buy it as a chassis for more than that.
Right,
You know,
or just the
we get
truck?
25, 30.
Yes, I would think.
If we can.
Well,
Let-
that would be a reasonable price, I would.
Mhm.
think,
Right,
somewhere around there.
exactly.
Yeah.
So let it go back to you guys, whatever.
So, money,
So
Deposit?
we'll leave $45,000 down, and then the balance due come July 1st. We want to wait till, or July, period 4. But
Okay.
whatever you guys decide, if we get it now, that'd be great too, but if not, no, they're holding it for us right now. And if they're not using it as a demo no more, so it's going back to them. We'll still need to sticker it, put it as Neola Fire Department on it. So there'll be some more cost on that, but we said we could take care of that with our money too.
Well, we never planned for whatever the sell price would be on the current machine either, so.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think we're way under because we haven't even traded that thing in yet.
Right.
So we're clear under our 200,000 we thought.
So as far as the 45 then, Clint, and regarding the rest of the sale, how does that work legally? Do we need to wait until the new budget, since that's what we budgeted for, to borrow?
I would do that, yeah, and then it's just the same process as debt. I mean, that's like the other process we're talking about for the land. But it was programmed into the budget. The biggest question I have just is there, how much are you financing of it? Is it the whole thing, or did you have monies that you wanted to put towards it, or what was your plan?
We don't really have no plan yet.
Okay,
You know,
did you get a contract yet from them?
Yep.
I think I
You
saw
did
it.
get one? Okay. How much? That's it.
Well, they wanted $45,000. Then the other thing, my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is that this company offered at a later date, when this particular truck becomes, worn out, that they'll guarantee a lifetime warranty on that
Right.
existing box, provided they do the changeover?
The thing that really were impressed with this Braun is that their box, they lifetime warranty their box the way it is now. And even when later on down the road that chassis goes to crap and we want to refurbish it, if we want to do like we do, they lifetime warranty that box if they do good work. So if we buy a chassis ourselves, say, hey, we're going to buy another new Ford chassis to put under, send it to them, they'll put it all together and still lifetime warranty their box.
So then even if we had instances like this, it's warranted to
Right.
take care of it.
Right, and that's what I want a good agreement on, what that warranty covers when we refurbish it again, just to see, any kind of cracks, any
Right.
effects.
Well, that's
all.
that's a nice
It's
feature of
it
the
is.
cell, I think.
Big thing.
And then if it saves us the problem that we're having with this
Yeah.
one,
Right.
it's not such a bad deal, but
Mhm. Yeah, this is a great ambulance.
yeah,
Just like we have to do it.
well, that's what it is. That's fine. So as far as the $45,000 that payment, then, are we good on that with?
Yeah, they were talking about taking that out of your, what was it, your,
Yeah, what we agreed with at the fire department, just to help you guys with the budgeting, I didn't know how it worked, we would take all of our fundraising money and put it as a down payment, if we can get that back.
And then reimburse you when we secure the
Yes,
loan?
you know, that way it don't mess with you guys on your budgeting process till July. So then when we finance it, we can get that money back. Some of it, I mean, whatever we want, we can put some down too. But if that helps you guys out, so it's only for a couple months.
Is that a transparent enough way to do things? you think?
it's just up to you guys. I mean, I'd like to see me put some money down on it, you know, just so we make sure our payment is within the $20,000 a year. But
Yeah, I think
it is.
we kind of asked Heidi, we really don't know now, until we go another year, how much money we're actually getting through EMS building. I would say anything from EMS building, we would look towards that squad too. I think everybody would be great with that, if it helps out.
Probably where it should go.
It should go.
anyway.
Exactly.
You would
Yeah.
think it would
Because-
cover the debt, but.
It might, but it's also
You just don't
in the
know.
mix of
Right.
it's spent now.
Right.
I think that you guys should look at a different billing company personally. I don't want to cause a big controversy with them again, but my experience with them when we were going through trying to get stuff switched over was negative. And I know that getting reports out of them is really hard. They put it all on you to try to figure out their portal system, and I never was able to get what we needed to show our auditors from them in the other communities.
Wait till their contract's up.
Yeah.
That's
I would
Yeah,
just
that.
can it. I wouldn't care about it honestly
Oh.
to see what they say.
All right.
But that's up to you guys too.
When did we
I
sign
just-
it?
I don't-
Recently, wasn't it?
No.
No.
It seems
it
like
hasn't
that.
Scott
been-
Brooks was mayor, I think.
Yeah, it hasn't been real recent.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's a clause in there as to, notification or anything like that.
Yeah, I
Is
think
it pressure furniture?
yeah, I haven't looked at it, but I just know when the last time I terminated their last contract, we just did it, and this, it's dealt with it. But there's at least 2 or 3 options for you, and
Maybe we should just talk with some of them
Yeah.
in the future.
yeah, I know. I don't think that they have it on a term. I think it's just a month-to-month thing. But we could look at it and find it and pull it and evaluate it.
Okay.
I just know your biggest thing is, like it was one of those things Iowa West brought up when you didn't get your park grant. Well, I see here in your notes that you don't reconcile your ambulance, receipts, which is kind of like a really minute thing to
Taken
complain
pretty
about.
deep to find that.
Well, it's a note in your audit.
Oh, they.
Yeah,
It's
it's
any
one of
notes,
those
yeah.
deficiencies, and it was one of the deficiencies noted in the audit. And that was one of the things that they kind of used as, maybe, I don't know, I shouldn't say that, but that was one of the things they cited as a reason to deny you money
Right.
for the card.
Should I talk to Doug Reed about this? Does he know anything about is it the contract for the county?
No, it's
It's not
just
the same one? Okay,
No, it's just the city's got their own.
This is,
Okay.
it's just us.
But like when we started, when Scott Brooks was mayor, and we were trying to get our arms around this whole thing because the former fire leaders had basically diverted the city's ambulance money to a private account
Right.
for the association or whatever, and the city didn't know where the money was at, and we were trying to get that all straightened out. This company wouldn't even talk to Scott Brooks and I.
Right.
They said their contacts were the fire chief at that time, and
That was it.
yeah, and it was just like, whoa, don't you? I had to send them threatening letters like, this is how it works. This is the fire department of the city, and this is the mayor, and what are you doing?
Right.
But,
what's the other company besides EMS?
a big one is PCC, and then you had one time.
Yeah, I've got a South Dakota, I can get that information.
Yeah.
Good, and we'll set up meetings.
Yeah.
If we can't get them here, at least we can actually zoom in. or
Yeah,
something.
I know they charge 15%. All of your money that's collected, 15% off the top goes to them. That's fairly high for a group. You can
As far as
get
EMS billing, was that?
yes 10. You can get 10, I think. But
And legally, I know that this is an issue with the fire department versus old school versus the way the law is. Logistically, you're supposed to bill people for this. It's not a courtesy anymore. That there are laws and regulations about billing
Well,
for
the
this
cost
stuff.
of the service is so
Yeah.
expensive anymore, I don't know how you.
It's not a-
Right.
It's not a freebie.
No.
No. And so
Just
that, we
like
have to get
tonight,
past that
How much money just went down the
mentality.
highway to go deal with it?
Right. Plus with insurance. Yeah, we have to get past that this is really legally, we are bound to have to do this because the federal law requires that now that you can bill for this, you must bill for this. It's one of those things. We can't write things off just to write them off. We have to show proof that we tried before we write things off. It's not legally to just write things off anymore, so. All right, so Heidi and I will get together about these 3 places. We'll take a look at, we'll talk to EMS and we'll do some investigating besides that and see if we can come up with a solution to the reporting problem with the EMS.
Was there a motion made on the ambulance?
We're gonna need a motion.
I think you guys need to sign this, don't you? Eric?
Jeremy.
Jeremy?
Yeah, yep.
I almost said
Okay,
Terry.
got it.
Okay.
Just one copy is
Those-
what you need. I think this looks like Heidi and Dawn, and then the fire chief, and then they had another one just for the highways.
So do we have any emotions on this?
Well, I don't know what
Are we
action.
gonna take it out of fundraising?
I think they want to take 45 grand out of your fundraiser account, don't you, and spend it and hold the ambulance till we can buy it in July.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, tell them, ask if they can give us till like the 3rd Wednesday of the month or something. I mean, I guess I can double check, but make sure it's after our 3rd Monday meeting. Yeah, the Wednesday after our meeting, we could do it then.
So as far as our body, do we need action then on that?
Yeah,
Or
I
just their
think-
money?
I think you'll, I don't, well, I mean, technically it's, you're talking about the 500 account money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, you need that.
All right, so moved.
Oh, you need.
Do I have a second? Okay, all in
Yeah.
favor?
Yeah, show me fine.
Okay.
All in favor? Do we have the motion? Maybe, let's back up.
For
Let's
delivery.
make the
and-
motion. We have to have it legal. Let's make the motion. Who's making the motion?
My motion is the understanding that what Clint just expressed.
Yeah, so.
That the fire department out of the 500 account, we will borrow $45,000 for the retainer of this new ambulance.
Okay, second. Carla.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Rob.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. All right. All right, 18, discussion possible action. Oh, we are at 7:30.
Yeah.
Well, we can motion this, we'll just have a few items.
Okay,
I'll move to
10
extend the
minutes.
meeting 10 minutes.
okay, second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, let's go forward. All right, discussion possible action, updating housing program application.
Are the highlighted things? that-
Highlighted yellow,
Yes, which I believe made everything a little bit
Clearer?
clearer.
I try to add as little as possible and
Yes.
achieve your goal.
Yes.
So basically, a housekeeping item that we didn't talk about is the elimination of these TIF LMI rehab grants. The reason behind that is because Alan Hedegaard's incentive was tied to that. And his incentive is over with, so there is no more LMI money. Yeah, so you don't have any money to do those with.
Okay,
So
all right,
that's why that's gone.
all right.
I think you may have 10,000 bucks left in it, I'm not sure. But we could also convert that and use it over for some of the other incentives that we do
Right.
as a source, so I think it's just eliminated.
So we're striking that.
Yeah,
And
Did we-
adding this item J.
Jay.
yeah.
Remember.
Okay. And then we're striking, this just pertains to the LMI again. This
Yeah.
Item B. On page 10.
Yep. Everything else be the same?
Okay.
Did we put anything about the?
Can I make that motion?
Yes.
Sure.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Second? Who made the motion?
I asked Carla, she was going to.
Okay, I make a motion to accept the updated housing program application.
Good, second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? So moved. Okay. Discussion possible action on pool employees' wages, guard, swim training hours and days of operation, prices on open swim, punch passes, membership, swim lessons, pool parties, water aerobics, and lap swimming concession prices. And there evidently is a change to the schedule that is
So this
not.
schedule's not accurate.
It's
Yeah.
not right.
And I was a little confused because,
News to everybody?
You should try to push those in the future, I don't say this year, because maybe that'd be a big battle, but there's no reason to have swim lessons and swim team at the same time.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I have
You
a
should always
problem.
push that and have it either after or before.
We're
Well, it
making
was
money off
supposed to
swim
be.
lessons. We are
Yeah.
not
That's
making
what it
money off
says
swim
on this,
lessons.
and that's what Trina wanted.
Okay.
And
Who changed it?
why wasn't Trina here?
Trina is supposed to be here. That's why this is last,
Oh.
so she could make it.
All right.
And she said she'll be a little late at 5:30, but
We're past that point.
Yeah.
We had to make a motion to have extra time.
So, did you write down what Amy said that their changes were?
I wrote down, she said swim lessons,
she said swim lessons were what?
9:15 to 11:50,
Right.
every day of the week, she
Monday
said.
through Thursday, aren't they?
She said Monday through Friday.
But
she
she
said-
said lessons Monday through Thursday though.
Yeah, swim lessons are 2 weeks in June, Monday through Thursday.
Right, that's it, yeah.
So it's only for 2 weeks that there's gonna be a conflict of time.
2 days
Yeah,
a
for
week.
4 days a week,
For 4
not every
days.
day.
2 days.
So
She
eight,
says
eight
they-
total days there's gonna be
She
a
says
conflict.
they might have meets on Mondays and Tuesdays or whatever, so there would only be 2 days a week they would conflict.
Yeah,
Wednesdays
because
would be
there's-
meet days, right?
I think Monday, Wednesday was meet days, so they would conflict Tuesday, Thursday. No swim lessons on Friday. So you have Tuesday and Thursday for how long? An hour, 15 minutes? What was it? I don't even know.
Swim lesson?
No.
When they're there at the same time.
Can I, why do we care about this?
I don't know.
I mean, if they're the managers and we're asking. them
And
to
they're getting
manage,
along and they
so,
think it'll work.
Yeah,
It's up to you.
I mean.
I just want feedback.
It'll just create
Because
conflicts for you guys.
I want feedback
I
because
agree
if
with
it's
that,
a
because if we
problem,
set a standard, then we
I want to
follow
hear
it.
about it because, again, we're not getting any money off the swim team.
Right.
But we are off the swim lessons. So if it's a problem, I think we need to know about it. So,
It just probably depends how many people are gonna be in the pool. If it's like last year, it will be a problem.
right.
Problem, how? Because
There's a lot of people in the pool
Like-
last year.
as far as the guards being able to do their job or occupancy of the pool, I don't think we.
Cause there's
we're
people
supposed
on
to
the
have-
weekend
have
and
like
there's
800
people, there's
Here's
people
my-
everywhere last year when I
Yeah.
went to
Here's
it.
my thing with this in the swim team practice is that are they going to be blowing whistles, blowing horns, things of that sort? And voices echo in there because it's a confined space. So are the kids going to be able to learn because there's going to be extra amount of noise in there because of the swim practice going on too? So
So, that's a big pool. I think they could stay on their side, they could stay on our side.
But I agree, we need to address
But
them and
look
say, hey,
into it.
let us know when these changes are happening. because-
But I mean, older kids, once they get a little bit older in swim lessons, they're at the other end of the pool, and then you got little kids at this end. I mean,
So
They
are
kind
those
of are
classes going
everywhere.
on? I don't know.
Yeah,
if
they
that's
are
the
everywhere.
case.
There's a lot
They
of
are
classes.
going on? There's like 3 classes at once?
Yeah,
Yes,
there's like
that's-
4 classes, 3 sessions at the
I
same
don't know
time.
how they're all gonna fit in there.
I'm interested to see too why is it they didn't pick a Friday? Because
Friday
nothing's
what?
going on Friday, so why did they not pick Friday as one of their practice days? They could have practiced a lot more, and Fridays are
Well,
not
there's no
having.
swim lessons.
There's no swim lessons
well,
on
it
Friday.
says swim
They
team
are
practice
practicing
Monday,
Friday.
Wednesday,
That's
Friday.
just the day that it won't
I think swim
coincide.
team practice is Monday through Friday,
Correct.
I understood, I don't know. From today, I don't know.
I just don't,
It's gonna be every
you
day.
guys' lessons should be kind of through a limited time, just like swim team, right?
Correct.
I mean, that's what generally, I always, if there's a pool in the community, I always try to make them, do them at separate times of the year because the pool's open longer than swim team's gonna be going on. And there's no reason why you have to have the swim lessons.
Right,
I like-
you
right when they
postpone
do
swim
it,
lessons
yeah.
Later in the month.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's not,
You know, and it's like usually they
it's their first year.
Yeah.
Maybe they're still working out the kinks too.
All right.
Yeah, it'll be fine. But it might cause, you may have
Maybe
some
they'll
time-
learn from it.
Yeah, and sometimes experience
Maybe
is
we
a
all
good
will.
teacher. Yeah.
So what do we need
That's
to
the
do?
thing. Good judgment
Anything?
We need to-
comes from experience, experience comes from bad judgment,
yeah.
something like that.
Nicole, the ice cream's on the last page.
I saw that, I'm on it.
So
Yeah.
we need a motion to approve fees.
Yeah, they was fine.
Yeah, they look fine.
Wages?
And wages.
Yeah,
Was that pretty standard?
I believe
That's
so.
pretty much what we
Yeah.
agreed on and about what everyone was getting paid last year.
Last year, yeah. I don't see it being an issue there.
and I think that They say they're gonna be more fair with the hours for the lifeguards than it has been
That, I think-
previously.
Yeah, it
Okay.
is.
Okay.
Nobody's really full-time, we're all
I was
part-time.
gonna say, can you monitor that, just
Yeah.
and make sure, because.
Yeah,
And then with the hours, like, 'cause the hours have kind of changed, they wanna be open till like 8.
8.
But if that, say there's nobody there for a few hours, they're gonna shorten up the hours if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, there might be a few changes within the pool
Right,
season to see what works and what doesn't.
Sure.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Robert, you got a motion and all that.
Yeah, go.
Come
A
on.
motion to approve the budget for the employees' pool. Wages and hours of.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Great. Public comment? Okay, through anyone?
Scott.
Scott, okay, 21, employee reports and discussion. Okay,
Um,
Good report.
Think she could go out. She wanted-
We had 109 delinquent letters and then 19 red tags. And we have on our speed sign down here, the solar panel's damaged, and to replace that, it's $1,300. So we will need to replace that.
Turn that into insurance.
Somebody will buy it, I think.
Yeah. That should be covered.
do we have that, are the cameras facing there?
We
It
moved
wasn't at the
Send it
time.
into our
we
new
moved it to
insurance.
the state.
All right,
That's why you pay a premium.
that's right.
Jeremy?
Okay, anything else? Jeremy, you got anything?
No, we're, like I said, got that bridge done, now we're start working on a bunch, I mean, flush a bunch of hydrants and, keep stuff, so. Bridge road's gonna be awesome.
How's the pool level?
Pool's up and running, we got heat going and,
We'll see.
yeah. So
Hold
we
your
got
breath,
heat.
press forward.
Jump in?
Did you guys find out anything with that valve, that shower valve? Any headway
Oh, I
on
thought you
what's
were
gonna
gonna talk
happen
about
on
the
that?
hospital.
Which one now?
Over at the pool, the shower assembly, that's. busted
Oh,
out.
yeah, we haven't yet, we haven't priced nothing yet or not, yeah, that's one thing that's gonna be coming up. That's
Okay.
maintenance,
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
they wrote us up on the shower, so.
All right. All right, elected officials, I have, we've already talked about Swidey, so we can check that off the list. On the 11th, we're going to put on the agenda to talk about barrier to properties. We have gotten a couple of inquiries in regards to the commercial property, so we'll have more information hopefully by the 11th. We have responded back to them. So, and I have sent Ron an email expressing that we will do whatever we can to help and support him as far as with what he needs. So we'll move forward with that and see what happens. I think Paula from Advanced Southwest is working with us as well. So that is a very nice change. That's very helpful too. So we have had some inquiries. So yeah.
Talking about the commercial one too, right?
Yeah.
Potential
Haven't
housing
heard
landing out.
anything, yeah, we haven't heard anything like that.
Yeah.
Housing yet.
I went to straight to town.
Straight from Doug's.
You gotta get a guy licensed to do it.
There's someone who does
Yeah.
that.
You gotta do public notice, don't you?
No.
That'd be a public notice.
No, there's one company that does it. It's way too late in the year to get it.
Too late.
Yeah, no, I mean, so if you have any kind of contract with them, I mean, they're built out on positive, and they're very intermittent. I would suggest try and get it done in-house if you can do it. It's more expensive, but you have way more control over it.
Spraying for mosquitoes.
Spray the
town.
mosquitoes, spray the town,
Oh, yeah. I think
fogging it or whatever, you know?
Well, do it when I'm on
somebody
vacation.
bought,
Yeah.
I can look at,
Oakland
somebody
and-
bought a machine, and they said they come around and do it.
Yeah, Oakland and Avoca both do it.
I know it's
They
right
bought
out.
the same-
Right out
Manning does
there,
it.
too.
I do it every year.
Oh, I can see.
I agree. They need to
The
work.
big things that you need to do right now are treat water around town, because the spraying is like
Just
an
part of it.
aspirin for a headache, or you know, what I mean, it's just like it's a
The standing water needs to get drained out.
Well, you could treat it with
Oh,
larvicides is what it is.
Yeah.
Talk to Drew if you want to.
Like a pool, you mean?
Yeah. Drew's got the certain license for
whatever.
Oh.
whatever it is.
Whatever, you know. You have to be,
But
people have to.
are you, Carla, you pretty serious about that though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Other towns do it and everybody loves it. You can sit outside at night and not
Well,
get
there's
hit
some that
all the
have to do
time.
it, it's like a necessity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Places like Hancock and places like that,
I mean, I have no idea what it costs.
it's too close.
The
to
stuff that we spray
for the
is
creek.
$10,000 for a 50-gallon drum of it.
We'll buy some off.
Go buy some.
Yeah, I'm serious. Yeah.
And how much does that do? Does it do?
It gets us through a summer usually.
Oh.
Yeah.
How much is it?
And then the equipment's $10,000 to start with. So, but,
Wow.
And this company you're talking
yeah,
about.
they do.
All right.
What
What's
kind
that?
of deal you give us?
It all depends if you want them to fly. They'll fly a plane over the town and spray it with a plane, and then they have a fogger like that. They'll come to it's Mosquito Control of Iowa. That's what it's called. It's in like Breda or someplace. Is Breda where the fire truck place is?
I know.
Yeah, I want to say it's in Breda. I can't remember where it is.
I had a comment.
Okay.
On the, I noticed on the fire department minutes, they mentioned their constitution. We need to
Yes.
kind of have a discussion as to what that is and how that's going to look before, and make sure they understand that the city has oversight.
Yeah,
Changes it.
what we're planning on doing is getting the stuff that we're gonna change and then bring it to you guys as a couple of you guys first to look at, or bring it right into a meeting to
Well,
look at. We're not
Jeremy,
gonna change a ton.
We have the
Just-
assistant here, this is perfect.
Yeah,
So we would only like to see maximum 2 pages, just what you need to have on there. Just your rules as far as elections are concerned, what you do for probies, what you do in case somebody gets in trouble, like when you probational period, or you put them on probation, those type of things in there. That's what we really want to see,
because we got.
because that's really
we
what
got
you need to have.
SOGs, standard operating guidelines, SOPs, procedures. We also got, we got stacks of papers.
Sure.
For these guys. I don't think we can combine it.
But
Did you
what we
pages?
really need to know, basically, as citywide is concerned, is just that.
Well,
Your
you want to
hiring
change it?
process, bringing them on, your elections, and
Well, but
typically.
some of these things we've already outlined as the city. We already have,
We have policy.
we have the policy and their constitution.
We have an ordinance that rules over that, and
Right.
we changed it like specifically
Right.
years ago.
That's the
Their
thing.
policy doesn't match our
Well, it
rules.
has to, because that is the
Yeah.
policy.
So
So that's
that's
what we're
why.
trying to do, yeah, is we're gonna go back to the old, I think we're gonna clear back to the old one that's actually
Okay.
the one that.
I just want to make sure that the rank and file guys all understand, I truly do
No, we
believe
get
it.
it, yep.
But just so they understand what the city's requirements are and that whatever kind of document gets drafted, it all reflects that.
Yep, that's what we're all in agreement with that.
Good.
I sent you that, Carla, Mosquito Control of Iowa. The thing with them is, I've worked with them in the past. They will say they'll come here as requested. Make sure that you get a contract with them. They were very poor in the past about following up on contracts, and also with coming out when you requested them to, because they're way overextended. But as far as I know, they're the only private provider of that
Opportunity for
service.
business right there if they're over.
What's that?
Opportunity for someone to make a living.
Somebody could do it. I mean, you could go out and spend 15 grand. You wouldn't have a summer,
Yeah.
but you could go out and probably drive all over Southwest Iowa.
Kill mosquito.
You might lose 10 years off your life too, breathing the smoke machine.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Nicole already did.
Adjourn.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.